Hello out there, Michigan football fans. This is another broadcast of WCBN Sports on our YouTube channel. I'm Eli Sherman alongside Jeremy Parks for this noon kickoff. The Wolverines are facing off with the running Rebels of UNLV. Wolverines enter the game 1-1 on the season. They picked up their first win in the Jim Harbaugh era. First win for Jim Harbaugh at home as well last week against Oregon State, just absolutely dominating that Pac-12 opponent. This week they face off with the running Rebels. They're coming into this game 0-2 on the season, losses to Northern Illinois and UCLA in their first two games of the season. Jeremy, what are the keys to this game for Michigan and UNLV?
Well, Eli, it's been a tale of two teams for the Wolverines, but not in terms of their own team, but rather the teams that they've played thus far, coming out opening the season in Salt Lake City against a very stout Utah defense and a high-powered offense. Couldn't quite handle it. The Wolverines coming out with the loss in that one, but last week, the Jim Harbaugh era in the Big House begins with Michigan pouring on the offense. Davion Smith going for over 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Eli, it's been the Wolverines, whether or not they can open the holes on the offensive line and whether Jake Rudock has the accuracy that he had at Iowa. And 4 interceptions already after only throwing 5 last season. I think the key for the Wolverines today, keep the ball on your side, maybe create some turnovers. It's supposed to be a bit of a cupcake game for the Wolverines here today. 34-point favorites coming in, focusing on eliminating some of those small errors that they make early on in games. And for the UNLV Rebels, just try and hang tight for as long as they can and try and force some turnovers of their own and try and work this stout Michigan defense as well.
Yeah, UNLV is expected to be missing their starting quarterback, Blake Decker, out with a hamstring injury today. Kirk Polandich is going to be in for him. And, when you're kind of a smaller market team, so to speak, and you're already down your starting quarterback, that can't be good. I think one of the keys in this game for me is the front three of UNLV. They are vastly undersized. I was doing the depth charts last night, still had the depth charts from last week plugged in there, and I was able to do the weight comparisons between their front seven and Oregon State's front seven. Their starting defensive tackles are 230 pounds, 300 pounds, and 260 pounds respectively. And that doesn't bode well for a defensive line that's going to be going up against one of the better offensive lines in the country. They certainly developed, and they are now becoming an asset to this Michigan team, whereas in the past few years they were a little bit of a hindrance. Michigan set to kick off to start this one. Back to return Aaron Criswell and Lexington Thomas. Kick goes well out of the end zone. Wolverines earn a touchback there on the first play. UNLV going to be starting from their own 25.
Attendance here slightly underwhelming this afternoon. Game time temperature right around 60 degrees. It's fairly humid outside. Kicks that up with the heat index to around 70. Rain all morning, but none as we see right now. The joke around here, Jim Harbaugh called off the rain at noon today.
So UNLV getting set for their first possession. Looks like Blake Decker actually is out there on the field. He wasn't listed on the depth chart, but he's going to start the game for the Rebels, try and give them a little bit of a go-ahead on the offense. They're going to need as much offense as they can today. Michigan held Oregon State to less than 50 yards in the second half. First play, run left, met right at the line by James Ross and brought down for no gain. Spot gives Michigan a benefit of the doubt. They get actually a 1-yard loss recorded. Second and 11 from the 24. 2 split out right. Wide receiver in motion. Handoff. Met at the line again. Ball goes to David Green that time, and in the backfield was Ryan Glasgow. Another tackle for the loss for the Wolverines. It's 3rd and 12 from the 23.
Eli, just like you mentioned before the game, that front line for the running Rebels getting bullied out there in the first 2 plays. Unable to create any holes for their running backs.
So 3rd and long. Rebels going to have to convert. They're playing into the wind. Passing could be more difficult. Wind at about 10 to 15 right now. Whistle before the play looked like they wanted the play clock to get reset. 2 out wide to the right, 2 out to the left. Play fake. Decker tries to go with it. Almost brought down, rolls over his tackler and out into the secondary. Decker nearly was brought down by Ryan Glasgow in the backfield, rolled over Glasgow. Glasgow couldn't bring him down to the ground. And Decker was able to capitalize on that and turn it upfield and pick up the first down.
We saw this early on in both games for the Wolverines this season, just unable to wrap up the quarterback after bringing on solid pressure. Can't record the sack. Turns into a big play for the running Rebels.
Looks like they're going to go to a replay. I didn't quite see the replay on the scoreboard. They were just didn't catch it in my eye, but I think based on what I heard from the fans in the crowd as the replay played, this is definitely one that's going to need a little bit of a question. So we are going to have timeout on the field. 13:23 remaining. No score here. Yeah, I'm looking at the replay on the TV. His knee might have been down, but there could have been a few inches of space to give Decker the benefit of the doubt.
Just rolled right over top of him. Good on Decker to roll right over top of that. Prevent his knee from touching the turf.
Doesn't look like he was ever down. Looking at the replay on TV, they got that slow-mo going. Never came within, never actually came down, was within an inch or two, but very lucky play for the Rebels. Their first drive is going to continue starting from the 40-yard line, their own side of the field.
Ojemudia actually came in after Decker had rolled over Godin and attempted to tackle Godin himself.
First and 10 from the 40. Minute and a half into the game. Decker's run 16 yards on 3rd and long. 1 tight end stacked on the right, 2 wide receivers out right. Dropping back to passes Decker. Stepping up in the pocket. Fires across the middle. Picked up. Blockers. Coming across the field. One more man. Brought down at the 31-yard line.
Not to Bill Peppers on the
Channing Stribling, my mistake, 8 versus 5. Don't have the benefit of the binoculars today. In any case, the Wolverines let up a big play there on 3rd and long, and then the very next play, Channing Stribling cuts under the route and gets a nice pick and picks up a nice gain, too, afterwards.
Well, that undersized offensive line for UNLV was able to hold off the Michigan defense. Bought Decker some good time in the pocket, but Decker with a poor throw and Stribling just reading the route perfectly comes underneath and makes the pick. And a great return afterwards.
And now the Wolverines already threatening, starting on the 32-yard line. Jake Budd in motion, coming inside. He split out right. Hand off to Davion Smith. Runs up the middle, met at the line, picks up about a yard there on first down. I expect Michigan to try and get out way ahead in this game and then just let Davion Smith get a little bit of rest. UNLV is not the team that you're going to want him to grind it out against. Let him get his reps, and then once the game is more or less a sure thing, they'll try and get some more time for guys like Drake Johnson coming back from injury.
I'd agree.
Ty Isaac.
Good opportunity for Johnson to get some snaps today, low pressure.
Hand off to Smith, going left, cuts to the left. Around the man, picks up about 6 yards. 3rd and 1 from the 23.
Good hole there for Smith. Cut right up and to the left.
Smith had a career high 125 last week. 3 touchdowns. Michigan picked up 215 on the ground.
Ran all over that Oregon State defense. A defense that only returned 2 starters from their previous season, if that's any testament to what they were running against.
Timeout on the field. Looked like one of the UNLV players might have been coming in late. I don't know if they UNLV needed to take a timeout to prevent the illegal substitution. No indication from the referees. And we've hit.
Doesn't appear to have been a television timeout.
I was going to say we'd hit our first media timeout, but they're sticking with it. There is a television tech guy on the field going to talk to the refs.
I think they're miking him up right now, unable to get through the PA system. Go back to that interception by Stribling, though, Eli. Look at Decker had all the time in the pocket that he needed. Came back. Oh, we're getting a little information here. It looks like we have an injury for UNLV. That's where the timeout came from.
That was Matt Leah.
5'10", 215-pound sophomore.
Linebacker for them, so that'll be a tough loss. Nagy Johnson will have to come in on the next defensive possession for them. Rudock hands off to Smith. Smith barrels forward, met at the line, spins off that tackler, picks up the first down. We saw that out of Smith all over the place last week, getting hit and then keeping the legs churning for a few extra yards.
Getting that body low to the ground and just pushing off of defenders, something that Smith has done increasingly well as the weeks have gone by.
Wolverines go for yard sale substitutions after going big on 3rd and 1. Bring back in the quicker guys. Jake Butt back in the game for A.J. Williams. A few more wide receivers. Davion Smith split out wide.
Empty backfield.
Rudock under center. Darbo in the slot. And Chesson to the left. Quick throw to Darbo. Got him across the middle. Caught about 5 yards deep. Picked up about 5 more after the catch. Enough for a first down. It's going to be 1st and goal from the 9-yard line for the Wolverines. Threatening early. Still 10 minutes left in the first quarter.
Good play there. Darbo ran the cross well, come right across the middle. Rudock with a strong throw in. They'll take 10 yards at a time all day long.
Now the Wolverines going to go with the I formation, goal line. Jim Harbaugh loves to run this. Jake Butt was out left, comes back inside for a block. Smith gets the ball up the middle, trying to find some space. Slow developing, brought down for a modest gain, 4 yards. I think the holes weren't there, and Smith had to cut around a few times in the backfield trying to find a spot that he could run, and still finally found it on that right side.
Wasn't quite a big hole, but still was able to carry a defender on his legs for another 1.5 yards, 2 yards there.
2nd goal from the 5. Darbo and Chesson out wide to the left. Rudock in the gun. Has Smith to his right. A.J. Williams on the right side in that tight end spot. Jake throwing late across the middle. Ooh, wide throw. That was uncharacteristic from Rudock.
Jake Butt was wide open in the end zone, had both hands up in the air for Rudock. Rudock was looking right, came back left, spotted Butt, just threw it way up over the right shoulder and away.
That pass looked wobbly on the replay. Might have been tipped at the line, couldn't quite see from the angle, but
should have been an easy touchdown.
In any case, 3rd and 5. 3rd and goal, from the 5. Freddie Canteen out to the left. He has Davion Smith to the right side and touchdown, Michigan.
Easy touchdown throw there. Davion Smith coming off the right-hand side. A screen pass over to him. Nobody on the defensive side of the ball within 5 yards of him. He's able to trot right into the end zone for Michigan's first touchdown of the afternoon.
Michigan out to the early lead. Kenny Allen on for the extra point. Blake O'Neal, the holder. And we've seen that package a few times here. Saw it a few times in that first drive where Davion Smith was split out wide. Kenny Allen's extra point is good. Wolverines up 7-0 here in Ann Arbor. And so, interesting to see that. We didn't see that at all in the first 2 games, but, the Wolverines coaching staff is coming up with some new nifty plays for their very, very versatile weapon in Davion Smith.
And the man coming up with those plays, Tim Drevna on the offensive side of the ball. Actually, interesting little tidbit, was a running backs coach for the Running Rebels back in the 1998 season. has come a long way to standing on the Michigan side of the sideline here at the Big House this afternoon. But I think that's kind of the liberty that you get when you're playing a relatively weaker opponent in UNLV. You can play with some different packages and have a little bit more freedom to look around and see, test out some new plays, see what you're able to do and bring that into the coming week's games. UNLV really the last cupcake opponent here for the Wolverines before they get into the conference schedule.
Yeah, next week the Wolverines will be playing against BYU here at home. That another noon start, not a cupcake by any means. Certainly a stout opponent, not necessarily a top flight opponent, but something that will give Michigan a little bit more of a workout going into the Big Ten season.
Talk about a team that rose above it though, losing their starting quarterback in week 1, winning on 2 Hail Mary plays, 2 weeks in a row.
So that scoring drive, 7 plays, 32 yards, short field after the Channing Stribling interception across the middle, 3 minutes, 23 seconds. That scoring summary brought to you by the Daily Sports Report on WCBN 88.3 FM Ann Arbor. Streaming online at WCBN.org, bringing you the latest in Wolverines football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and all the other sports in the Wolverines sporting spectrum. Live Monday through Thursday, 6 to 6:30 on WCBN.
WCBN will be at U of M Soccer Stadium tomorrow for a women's men's back-to-back doubleheader. Men playing Northwestern at 3 o'clock. I'll be on that call. Not sure who's going to be on the noon call for the women's game. Also, the notorious scarf giveaway for the Michigan Ultras.
Very important. Gotta have a lot of students there for that one. Looking to get a free set of soccer garb.
Free anything will draw the masses. Looks like the student section's filled in a little bit more here.
I'm actually quite surprised at that. There's still a few open rows in the upper bowl, but given the level of the opponent and also the weather, though, it has the sun is peeking through a little bit. Mostly overcast here in Ann Arbor, but it was raining all morning and certainly put a damper on the pregame activities. But surprising to see the students relatively full,
especially with the availability of tickets coming into this morning.
Kenny Allen set to kick, high and deep, has the benefit of the wind. There's going to be a return on this one. Lexington Thomas with the ball, cuts right up towards the 15-yard line, brought down by James Ross right there. So good decision by James Ross. Really nice kick by Kenny Allen, getting it right there at the goal line, forcing a return.
We'll see how Decker reacts after throwing the pick on the last drive. Set up the Wolverines in great field position.
Decker has 2 men in his backfield, one back to his right, one straight back to tailback David Green. Hand off to Green, cuts to the right, has a big hole, brought down for a 7-yard gain. Made it to the secondary, Gerard Wilson on the tackle.
First hole that he's been able to find this afternoon in that Michigan defensive line. Capitalizes, but for such a big hole, only cuts up for 7 yards. Michigan closed down well on that.
Decker back in half gun. Keith Whiteley behind him. Snap, hands it off to Wheatley. Wheatley running way to the left. Tried to bounce that all the way to the outside before cutting upfield. Got about 4 yards, enough for the first down. 1st and 10 from the 30. And I think that's going to be one of the keys for the running game for UNLV in this one is they're not going to get yards up the middle. Michigan's just going to outmatch them physically on the inside. They're going to have to be, quicker to the outside and try and get the wide receiver blocks on things. And it's going to be a test for Michigan's defensive ends. Hand off to Whiteley again, brought down at the line.
I know we saw in the first few plays there for the Running Rebels, they were trying to get more central running game going, but they couldn't do anything. So coming out here, keep hitting the outside, finding a little bit more success, but relatively negligible so far.
Look at the replay. Really nice tackle by Taco Charlton coming from the backside of that plate, getting to Whiteley from behind. Stacked receivers, 3 out wide to the left. Whiteley in the backfield. Handoff goes to Whiteley, goes up the middle, brought down right there, 3-yard gain. 3rd and 6 coming up for the UNLV Rebs.
Again, they tried to test the Michigan defense up the middle, but nothing doing. All rush so far, no pass except for the interception thrown by Decker. 32 yards on the ground in total for the running Rebels.
Decker has one out wide to his right, trips to the left. Whiteley in the backfield. 5 seconds on the play clock. They get the snap off. Fumbled snap. Decker has to cover it. Drop for a 4-yard loss. The Wolverines are going to force the 4th down. Jabril Peppers coming up on the punt return.
Looked like it was going to be a designed pass play for the Rebels there. Looked like Decker was already looking out left where he had trips before he got the snap. Just not paying attention, dropped the ball there.
Yeah, he definitely looked surprised on that one. It went right into his hands, hit him, right where it was supposed to, and he took his eye off it. That's going to be a key play. Punt is off. Punter Logan Yunker, fair catch by Jabril Peppers right at the 40-yard line. So the Wolverines out for their second drive of the day. 6:22 remaining here in the first quarter of play. Wolverines up 7-0, playing the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, running Rebels.
We still haven't seen Jabril Peppers really get a chance to take anything back on these punt returns. And it looked like last week against Oregon State, Michigan was opting to send more men towards attempting to block the punt, whereas today it seems as though they're falling back, maybe trying to get some more blockers for him, open up a few opportunities, but he had 3 men on him before he could get any motion going.
Yeah, I agree. Last week, they came very close to a few block punts, and then, of course, there was the punt that went over the head of the Oregon State punter last week, and that resulted in Michigan getting the ball at the 1-yard line, putting it in for a score. But I think part of that happening could quite possibly have been because of the Michigan's rush on the punt and trying to block a punt. You're not allowed to set up a guy straight on with the long snapper, but even so, that the idea in the long snapper's head of I have to defend against this, that could be huge and could have caused him to make that mistake. And I think this week, maybe Michigan's just trying to work on a few different things. They know that they can afford to make a few mistakes in the schemes, because this is a team that isn't going to beat them isn't going to beat them up too badly when they make those mistakes.
Well, and I think last week also we saw that constant punt rush. It led obviously to the tirade heard around the world after the running into the kicker penalty, one that Jim Harbaugh was not a fan of. However, see the Wolverines backing off a little bit today.
So the Wolverines going to start with a 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line.
Jim Harbaugh's been quiet so far this afternoon, quietly stalking the sideline on this near side for us.
Just waiting for the TV timeout to get finished up. Jake Rudock in the huddle over there.
Be interesting to see what Tim Drevno comes up with this drive after going pretty much all run game on the last drive right up into the red zone.
Rudock from under center. He has Smith, the single setback. Chesson out wide to the right. Jake Butt there as well. Jake Butt now in motion towards the inside. Quick pass over to Amara Darbo. Caught for 9 yards. Dives forward. Gets about 9.5 there on 1st down. Wolverines, good efficiency so far today.
Looks like it was Chris Lopez coming off the wing for the running Rebels. Tried to block that one. Unable to get his hands on it. Good, powerful, accurate throw from Rudock.
Hand off to Davion Smith, going right to the outside, dives forward, gets enough for the first down.
Looked to be about 5 yards there, maybe 6.
Wolverines playing within their means, not trying to do anything too aggressive so far, and I think that's kind of what Michigan fans expected going into the season. Jake Rudock, definitely more of a game manager quarterback. A lot of times that title is ascribed to quarterbacks that can't be the big playmaker, and it's not a knock against Rudock's ability, but he's just more of a guy that plays conservative, and so far that seems to be working here for Michigan. Hand off to Davion Smith, goes up the middle, gets a nice block there from the left guard. Brought down, that was Ben Braden getting the push for him.
Just going back to Rudock for a moment, I think that's why we saw Rudock come out as a starter in week 1. I think Michigan fans, as you said, were expecting this more steady-paced offense as opposed to going with that big arm that Shane Morris has. And it seems to have worked fairly well, except for when Rudock has been a little bit careless with those passes, but seems to have settled down a little bit since that opening week in Utah.
Rudock under the gun. Fakes to Davion Smith. Running right has Sion Huma. Joe Carriage, new as the fullback. Missed the number. In any case, Carriage gets the ball for a first down. Plus a little bit more. 1st and 10 from the 32. Wolverines driving yet again.
Again, a nice rollout there from Rudock, and they're just playing that mid-range passing game right now when they are deciding to throw the ball.
Toss play to Smith going way outside. Brought down in the backfield. Michigan's left tackle, Mason Cole, could not pick up that block. First tackle for loss today for the Rebels defense. Wolverines playing 2nd and 13 here.
It was Fred Wilson on the tackle there for the running Rebels. Came off the corner with speed.
Rudock on the gun, design pass. Pass broken up there. Coming from behind, intended for Darbo. On the breakup was Torrey McTire.
Again, I think that's where Rudock just has to take his time a little bit more. I know it was a design pass play, but at the same time, when he's that well covered, take your time, read a little bit, maybe move.
I think he stared down Darbo a little bit too.
Breaks the sack there.
Now Darbo had to roll out left. The offensive line collapsed on that play, had to throw the ball away. And so it's 4th and 13 from the 35. This could be a go-for-it situation here. Kenny Allen, an unproven kicker for the Wolverines.
Looks like they're going to keep Rudock out there, but 2 very awkward downs for the Wolverines. Rudock was able to fend off the pressure, came out to the left side, but unable to find Darbo, who had his hands open. Just overthrew him out in front and a little bit high.
Darbo in the shotgun. He has Ty Isaac. Ty Isaac has established himself as the 3rd down back for this Wolverines team. Timeout on the field. UNLV taking the timeout. They were not prepared for the 3rd down play.
Interesting to see what they're going to call here on 4th and 13.
And from the 35-yard line, that would be a monstrous field goal attempt for a college
52-yard
player. And, even Blake O'Neill with his Aussie punting prowess, that's a very difficult situation for him, being able to keep that thing within 35 yards, kicking a short field like that and trying to pin a team back. But I think if anybody can do it, he's shown that he has the ability to really get that hang up there and let the punt drop in like a 7-iron from 175 yards out.
Maybe if I'm playing, I'm not sure about your 7-iron shot there, Eli, but no, I saw it. Did you see the video this week of that kid out of Ohio hit a 60-yarder, high school kicker?
Wow.
60-yarder with room to spare. Probably had about 5 yards still over the bottom bar.
That's impressive.
Maybe by Nick Saban.
Maybe Michigan should snag him out of Ohio like they've done so many other recruits over the years. Timeout still going on the field. The cheerleaders are spelling out the letters of Michigan.
Sun's starting to peek out through the clouds here in Ann Arbor.
Clouds clearing up a little bit. There's kind of two layers going on right now. There's the high clouds that are mostly static, and then the low clouds that are just, maybe 1,000 feet over the stadium. And those are moving really rapidly northwest to southeast.
No rain.
So
a drop in sight.
A lot brighter in the sky than it was half an hour ago.
Stadium starting to get just about full, it appears. I don't see too many gaps in the stands here.
There is the occasional row or two that is empty, but I have to agree. I think, people have finally kind of made their way in, got their lunch. Now they're settled in for some Michigan football. Looks like they are going to go with the punt. Blake O'Neill set back to kick. No returner. I think they're playing the safe man. Plenty of time for Michigan's Gunners to get down there. Nice high kick. And the catch made by Jabril Peppers right at the 4-yard line. That was just beautifully executed.
It was almost pitch and catch, but foot to hands there. O'Neill to Stribling. Stribling just waiting there right at the 4-yard line. There were about 5 Wolverines standing there. Really couldn't miss as long as he just put a little leg on it.
Yeah, and there was no rush. UNLV was conceding the kick because they were expecting, a trick play. But on 4th and 13, I don't know that a trick play is really worth it. Michigan already up 7-0, and they'll take the field position. It's a very Big Ten thing to do, play the field position game. But, now Michigan has an opportunity to pin him real deep, turn the field. Hand off to Whiteley, met at the line, brought down. They're going to give him forward progress and say
4.
1-yard gain on the play, but it looked like he was met before the line of scrimmage and then brought down behind.
Bit of a generous spot.
So 2nd and 9 from the 4 for the Rebs.
Look for another handoff here again.
One out wide to each side. Got the fullback back there and Whiteley the tailback. Hand off to Whiteley going right. Goes up the middle. Gets through the line but brought down by James Ross there. 3rd and 2 from the 11.
Got a good hole there. Whiteley able to just push up through the gut. That's the first run up the middle I've really seen from the Rebels today that was effective against this Wolverines defensive line.
Wolverines are going to have to play big here and try and stuff the progress.
A little bit of breathing room for the Rebels.
Hand off to Whiteley, going right. Gets around the line, cuts up field, brought down at the 24.
Just able to bounce off the tackle there.
Joe Bolden on the tackle in pursuit.
Desmond Morgan made the initial contact, it looked like. Then went for a dive, but was unable to bring anyone down.
1st and 10, ball spot at the 23. That's 2 nice conversions on 3rd down for the Rebels so far. They had one on the first drive before that pick. Man in motion, they fake to him, and then a quick throw. Ball nearly picked off by Jordan Lewis.
Great
knocked down.
Lewis. Made a play on the ball. Tailed him the whole way.
Jordan Lewis was doubtful going into this game, had the concussion last week, but apparently minor enough that he's able to play. He is definitely Michigan's lockdown corner. He's their number 1 guy and showed right there why. Able to get his hands there, play really good tight coverage.
It was a good throw by Decker and a well-run route.
Decker in the backfield. Play fake to Whiteley. Got Wolverines to bite, but only able to get forward for a yard. Ojemudia on the tackle.
Wind starting to kick up a little bit here. Up in the booth, papers blowing around. Starting to cool off a little bit. Lost a bit of that humidity that was touching around this morning.
Sun certainly burned up the clouds, I think. Peeking through out there. 3rd and 9 from the 24. 3 out wide to the left, 1 to the right. Becker gets the snap. Looking across the middle, throws, pass broken up. Channing Stribling making a nice play, diving in front, getting a left hand on that ball. 4th down coming up.
How about Channing Stribling early on in defense for the Wolverines today? Already got a pick to his name. Seen some great coverage. Also, the man who caught the punt back at the 4-yard line. He's been all over the place for the Wolverines on multiple sides of the ball.
Logan Junker back to punt. He's got a wall behind him. They're going to try and defend against the block. Peppers back to return.
Close there.
Short punt. Peppers isn't going to have a chance. Ball bounces out of bounds. 43-yard line for the Wolverines. So far, their starting field position has been the 43, the 40, and UNLV's 32. So Michigan certainly dominating the field position battle so far in this one. Of course, that 32-yard line drive was the result of Channing Stribling's run back after the interception.
Just about as expected so far for the Wolverines. Again, they came into this afternoon's matchup 34-point favorites against the Roman Rebels. Quick restart here.
Diamond backfield for the Wolverines. Jake Butt to the right, Carriage to the left. Now Jake Butt moving out wide, and Davian Smith at the back. Davian Smith runs right up the middle, had a big hole, 6 yards there on 1st down. He's just been absolutely consistent so far.
And again, we continue to see that Michigan offensive line winning the battle in the trenches. Play after play, down after down.
8th carry on the day there for Smith.
Smith actually lost the ball a little bit there. I believe his knee was down, but he bobbled it towards the end of that run.
Another diamond backfield. Broken play as 2 guys ran into each other. Looked like
Rudock and Carriage.
Rudock was looking to go back to Smith. Miscommunication, and he and Carriage collided. Then Rudock ended up running to the left, taking it himself. 3rd and 1 now. Able to still pick up a gain.
Still got 3 yards out of it.
That's important.
And again, just another miscommunication on the behalf of the Wolverines. Something that they were really looking towards today to kind of figure out the kinks against this relatively soft UNLV defense.
So that's going to do it for the first quarter here at Michigan Stadium. The Wolverines are up 7-0. Scoring after that interception by Channing Stribling and UNLV's first drive. Wolverines are going to have the ball on their own 47, 3rd and 1 coming up after the timeout. You're listening to WCBN Sports broadcast of University of Michigan football and the University of Nevada at Las Vegas. Running Rebs.
You're tuning in this afternoon on our YouTube channel. Be sure to give us a follow on both of our channels, both WCBN Sports and WCBN Sports 2. We now have the high technology capability to be in multiple places at once and bring you more Michigan sports than ever.
And we've done it before, too. Last year, softball and baseball simultaneous.
Morris and I over on the softball field, and Sherm, I think it was you and Leo or you and Disler over on the baseball diamond at the Fish.
Me and someone. I don't honestly remember, but I do remember being a part of that broadcast.
The inaugural double broadcast. WCBN Sports coming a long way in the last year.
Michigan Drumline doing their thing down in the north end zone, performing for the student section.
Speaking of baseball, Sherman, you'd be happy to know Eric Bakich was in the South Quad Dining Hall yesterday giving tours to about 4 or 5 prospective baseball recruits, letting them know that they could have all the stir fry they wanted.
Very important. Very important. That stir fry is prime. I will, if I may say so myself.
A lot better than the E-Squad stir fry. E-Squad guy there likes to make it a little soupy. I like my stir fry with a little bit less broth in it, you know?
Yeah, I certainly agree. I think the rice noodles really make it at South Quad. And then, of course, there's, the omelet station and all that.
WCBN Sports, your home for Michigan sports and Michigan dining hall analysis.
Hey, we're gonna do that food show on the Daily Sports Report that one time. Still hasn't happened. I think we could make it work.
Let it be known that my submission for chicken and waffles still finished second in the West Michigan Whitecaps Food of the Month battle 2 years ago. Still snubbed by that po' boy that beat me out.
Neither of those are really a West Michigan type food. I'm kind of curious.
You're talking to the ballpark that's home of the Fifth Third Burger, 5 pounds of beef, bread, toppings galore.
I mean, burgers are everywhere, but
deep fried
chicken and waffles is a southern dish, not a Grand Rapids delicacy. I wouldn't think.
I wouldn't say Grand Rapids has a whole lot of delicacies, but
fair enough.
Neither does Ann Arbor.
You guys got corn though.
Corn, soybeans, you name it, we got it. And churches. A lot of churches. Big house looking like church today for the Wolverines faithful. I'm going to guess, we're going to get the answer a lot later in the game here, but I'm going to guess maybe 106,000 here today.
Somewhere around there, I'd say maybe between 106 and the over capacity. Last week they had 109, I believe.
109,641, if I believe.
Good memory.
Correct.
Rudock, play fake, comes out wide to Carriage in the flat. Carriage makes the catch and dives forward. Nice play on 3rd and 1. Play fake and pick it up the first down and a little bit more.
Not a good throw from Rudock. Threw it well behind Carriage, but Carriage able to dip back, get his hands underneath it, and make a good grab, and keep his motion going forward.
So the Wolverines continue to drive, 1st and 10 from the UNLV 40-yard line. Graham Glasgow points out the mic, toss play, another toss back to Darbo, coming on the end around, trying to get upfield, beats the man, gets only about 4 yards, tackled out of bounds.
Looked like they had him fooled for a minute there, but Darbo just couldn't get the speed going to get around that corner fast enough.
Yeah, that toss went to Carriage. Carriage hit Darbo going back the other way.
Was half thinking they might have Darbo throw it down there. Looked like he had Jake Butt hanging out down at about the 15-yard line.
So after all that excitement, 2nd and 6 from the 36. Ty Isaac in the backfield. Handoff to Darbo coming on the end around. Straight to him this time. He has a lot of room upfield. Big Wolverines on another end around. Back-to-back plays.
What a block by Henry Poggi on the left-hand side. Giving him the space he needed to just trot down that sideline and into the end zone. Jehu Chesson. What a play.
So the Wolverines, 2 scoring drives today, both of them benefit of excellent scoring position, field position, That drive, 5 plays, 56 yards, 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Kick is up, kick is good. Wolverines up 14-0 here early in the second quarter in Ann Arbor.
And again, it was the block that made the play. Henry Poggi taking out the lone defender on that left-hand side. And that opened up copious amounts of green in front of him and allowed Chesson to trot down that sideline and into the end zone.
It's green, but it is plastic. I'll just remind you. Turf field here at U of M.
Got to get that traction.
So the Wolverines,
was that run over 30 yards?
That run was 36 yards. He is now the leading rusher on the day for both teams.
So Michigan is now
also has a 36-yard average, I might add.
Michigan has now joined the rest of the Big Ten. Prior to today's game, they were the only Big Ten team to not have an offensive play over 30 yards on the books.
I believe their long was 19 last week. Davion Smith with a big first down run.
And Utah was less than that, so
I think his long there was 7 yards, if I recall correctly. In any case, Michigan running all over what is likely an inferior opponent. Then again, who knows until they really finish their season. But at 0-2 with a drubbing by UCLA last week and a close but definitive loss to Northern Illinois in their opener, I think UNLV is well on their road towards a subpar season.
UNLV looking at a middle-of-the-road Midwestern Conference schedule. Really the only big games left on their slate. San Jose State, where they haven't won at since 1994. And then the second to last week of the season, San Diego State. Between their couple easy opponents, Nevada, Reno. Fresno might be a tough game there.
Boise State, always interesting. They're, of course, playing Boise State at home, though, which is certainly a different, it's a tale of two teams when Boise State is at home versus on the road.
This is by far the largest game the Rebels will play in this season. Last week they played at UCLA, and that crowd was only 31,000 for the Bruins.
Well, that's the case for most teams that come into Michigan Stadium. That most teams are playing in front of a max of 85, maybe even for the big Pac-12 schools, and then you get to Michigan and it's the biggest stadium in the country. This is bigger than NFL stadiums.
It still struck me that UCLA and Jim Mora could only pull 31,000 out there, and they were ranked number 13 going into that game.
Las Vegas isn't a quick drive from LA, so they have enough trouble getting people to go to the Rose Bowl because it's about 30 miles from their campus. And quite frankly, I'm not surprised to disagree with you on that one. Kenny Allen set to kicking into the wind for the first time today. Nice line drive through the back of the end zone. Touchback.
A little bit of extracurricular activity after the play there. Jay Chesson going tumbling with the UNLV defender.
So Kenny Allen is, he hasn't had too many opportunities in the field goal game, but in the kickoff department, he's certainly showing that he knows what he's doing. He
got the boot.
He has 2 touchbacks on the day and one kicked it right at the goal line and forced a return, limited to 15 yards. Channing Stribling playing loose coverage. They go right at him. Catch made.
Can't quite tell who that was. 83 down on the field.
Not on our chart. Gonna have to look that one up.
Interesting. Eli will take a look at that one for you. Meanwhile, UNLV lined up at the 31-yard line. Decker back with 2 backs behind him. Decker going to hand it off to Whiteley again. Whiteley's going to be wrapped up in the backfield. Loss of 2 yards there. Coming in on the tackle for the Wolverines. Looked like it was either Willie Henry. Might have been Goat. See on the replay. It was Goat on the tackle there. That's going to leave a long 3rd down and 6 for the Rebels. Now sitting at the 29. Decker's back in the gun. Whiteley off to his right. Got trips out on the right as well. Decker drops back. Gets off the throw. Will be caught for a short gain of about 2 yards.
Kendall Keys on the catch there, coming across the middle. UNLV does not have a roster in their game notes. That is atrocious.
Surprising.
In any case, that last play, some guy with the number 83 caught the ball.
If you're listening at home, feel free to look it up. Tweet it at us, at WCBN Sports on Twitter. Feel free to give us a follow. We think we're funny sometimes when we talk about sports.
Devontae Boyd seems to be the man.
Flags down on the field prior to the ball being able to be punted away. It's going to be false start on the Rebels. That's going to push them back another 5 yards. Really shooting themselves in the foot there and continuing to give Michigan that good field position. That'll leave Jabril Peppers standing at the Michigan 35 to take the punt.
So Devontae Boyd is on our depth chart, but when I made the charts yesterday, it was listed as number 8. So leave it to UNLV.
Leave it to the guy who made the charts. Peppers back with the catch. He's going to try and run it. Breaks like 4 tackles. Jabril Peppers Bounces off another tackle. He's past the 45. He's up to the 50-yard line. Jabril Peppers showing some fancy twinkle toes there. And in a flash, he went from the 35 to the 50. We'll see how many tackles he broke on the replay. We'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Took the 7th UNLV defender to bring Jabril Peppers down.
That play looked a little bit like that one recruiting video that made its ways all over YouTube where he broke 15 tackles or something like that on a kick return and took one to the house.
The big boy out of Paramus Catholic finally giving the Wolverines a little taste of what he can do on the punt return game.
Rudock under center, changing up the play at the line. Smith in the backfield. Nobody moving around, though. Rudock back to throw. Tries to find Darlow. Tipped and into the hands of a UNLV defender. He is being mobbed right now. That's
Wilson on the interception for the running Rebels.
Freddie Wilson.
Not sure who the tip came off of. What a poor throw by Rudock.
That was underthrown. I think, Torrey McTire was very close to being able to come up with that one. And it ended up in the hands, went over the hand of Darbo into Freddie Wilson's hands.
Bounced off the hands of Blake Richmond, the first defender for the Rebels, and into the hands of Freddie Smith there.
Either way, Darbo was covered on the low side and up top, so
Rudock continuing to struggle in the passing game.
Hand off to Whiteley, going right, bounces off a man, brought upfield, nearly brought down by Jordan Lewis.
Be a gain of 8.
Lewis couldn't bring him down and brought down at the 47.
Do you think we see Shane Morris at some point in today's game?
That's an interesting discussion to have. I think a lot of people around Ann Arbor have been talking about maybe him getting a red shirt this year. If Michigan doesn't need him, try and keep him around for an extra year, because he's certainly the most experienced quarterback on the staff. Running right up the middle as Wheatley met at the line, tackled by a slew of Wolverines, no gain on the play.
And who would you see? Wilton Spade?
Spade is a possibility. I think Malzone is also a guy they might be looking for, but I think Malzone, they kind of want to preserve that red shirt.
It's just astonishing. After Rudock only threw 5 picks all last season at Iowa, comes in, that was his 5th pick of the year already here in week 3.
Well, Michigan does have a 14-0 lead, so they won't make any changes if they don't have to. Quick throw to the right side, tipped up in the air, almost picked off by Delano Hill coming back in, but out of his reach, ball dropped short. Another 3-and-out forced by the Wolverines defense. They're kicking from the 47.
This interception in particular, not necessarily something that's going to do a lot of harm to the Wolverines, but in future weeks when they're playing tougher opponents, that accuracy is going to have to get better. Really proving to be the Achilles heel on offense so far for the Wolverines.
Yeah, certainly. I think one possibility is that they'll go in at halftime and look at those throws, and now another false start call.
2 in a row
on the punt.
That is 2 false starts on the UNLV punt team in consecutive attempts.
Anyways, as I was saying, I think that's something that Michigan, you're in the middle of the game, so why not use this as kind of practice time and let Rudock have an opportunity to try and fix the mistakes, because he's going to get better looks here than he is during midweek practice. High punt, Peppers back to return. Fair catch called, caught at the 10-yard line, sets the ball right down, spotting it for the referee. Just under 10 minutes left to play in the first half here at Michigan Stadium, 14-0 Wolverines.
Been a bit of a ho-hum game so far. Nothing too spectacular on either side. Hallmark play, that 36-yard touchdown run from Jehu Chesson.
The end around is a play that, if it's set up right, it can be really damaging. I think what's interesting, the first time Michigan played Appalachian State back in 07, what really killed them was the end arounds after end around after end around, and they just weren't prepared for it. And it's a play that, you got a quick slot receiver that can do it. Just really burns the edges of the defense and then opens things up back on the inside.
All they had to do was get that one block from Henry Poggi. Chesson was off to the races.
So quick game recap. Wolverines took a 7-0 lead on their first drive of the game. UNLV got the ball to kick, and then Blake Decker threw an interception. Wolverines capitalized on that, getting up 7-0 early on. And then things have been relatively slow, to say the least. They have been running the ball a lot. Wolverines 72 yards on the ground so far here, midway through the second quarter. Another touchdown on that J.U. Chesson run. Michigan has had very good field position so far today. Drive starting at the 32, the 32 of UNLV, and their own 40, 44, 48 respectively. This is the first drive inside their own 20. They're starting at the 10 after UNLV drove a little bit and then got a nice punt and limited the return of Jabril Peppers.
See how Rudock settles down after throwing the pick on the last drive. And it's just getting back to consistency for the Wolverines, something they've struggled with season after season for the last few years. Finding that consistent offensive play.
Again, waiting on the TV timeout to conclude. The TV producer standing on the 20-yard line right on the numbers just gave the go-ahead. Wolverines are going to come to the line.
Offset eye.
Rudock has Chesson in motion. They hand it off up the middle. Carriage on the run. Picks up 5 on first down. Wholesale change from the sideline. Drake Harris coming into the game. Got his first collegiate catch last week. He's been on campus for 3 years now, and that first catch coming after a slew of hamstring injuries over the first several months of his career.
Grand Rapids born and raised. 6'4", 181 pounds out of Grand Rapids Christian.
I formation. Ball goes to Ty Isaac, cutting up the middle, tried to get around the linebacker. Couldn't do it. Upended at the 19. Going to be just short of the first down. Third and about a half coming up for the Wolverines. And, Drake Harris, I think, is a guy that Michigan really looks at as a potential deep threat. They don't really have a deep threat in the wide receiving core, and he's a guy that, he's fast and he's tall, but he just hasn't had, the same types of catches, the same opportunities as he did in high school. Ty Isaac gets the ball up into the middle of the defensive line, picks up the first down, and about 2 more.
And again, a lot of the reason that they brought Drake Harris to campus early 2 years ago was to bulk him up and get him a little bit bigger. He's still only the fourth smallest guy on the team at 181 pounds. And he's trying to get a little bit of size on him so he can fight against some of those cornerbacks and safeties. But definitely someone to look at for the future for the Wolverines.
Puma in the game now at fullback and the offset eye. They have Poggi. Quick toss to Isaac. Isaac going left, cuts up the middle, has a bit of space, breaks it. Wolverines running up today, and that was a big block from Henry Poggi coming to the left side, sealing the edge. And then Ty Isaac breaking 3 or 4 tackles as he made his way down that near sideline. Big run
Henry Poggi on the block again, and Sione Huma coming in off the side as well to assist in the block, but they set off about 4 defenders to give Ty Isaac the space he needed to break it.
76 yards that run. Kenny Allen, the kick is good. That ball goes into the stands. They're going to throw it up and out of the stadium as it makes its way up the stands. Wolverines 21-0 here. 7:50 left in the first half.
How about Ty Isaac? Off to the races, that man. That cutback, he was headed towards the sideline, met about 4 defenders, and that's where Huma and Poggi made the blocks. Cut back right, came up that sideline, and another of the UNLV defenders tried to break his legs, but he broke off of him, and it was off to the races from there. Oh, what a beautiful flashback moment to the Lloyd Carr era up on the screen here.
U of M versus Washington. I remember watching this game in my living room. Chris Perry. He was a legend.
Perry. He's hanging up on the wall outside of the booth out here, I believe.
That is true. That is true. You know, you walk down the stairs right behind our booth, there's Braylon Fest and, you know, Desmond Howard with his Heisman pose.
Charles Woodson.
All these amazing memories. Box here.
Michigan's so much into the legend status of their former players and the history. And you even look at the game program from today. It's an old photo, I believe, of Gerald Ford actually on the cover today.
That it is. Interesting to see. This year, they eliminated the Legends jerseys. They had that program the last few years under Brady Hoke and now with Harbaugh.
Relic of the Dave Brandon era, I believe.
Now with Harbaugh coming in, they're going to go back to retiring jerseys. That ceremony will come in the Ohio State game this year.
There's a different feeling in the air in Ann Arbor these days around this football team. You felt it last Saturday, just waking up in the morning, walking down to the stadium. There was a different feeling in the air.
Everybody had a smile on their face. You know, you couldn't necessarily say that last year, but this year, there's just, you know, even for a game like UNLV, you know, this is a game that last year I think people would have.
This stadium would have been half empty.
Yeah, shirked as an uninteresting matchup. And let's face it, Michigan up 21-0 early in the second, or midway through the second quarter. It's turning out to be very similar to what a game last year would have been. But, you know, everybody's still here. Everybody's still very much excited about what's coming. And they know that this team has a long way to go. You know, it's by no means a dominant team. A lot of guys have changed positions during the offseason. They're learning. And you know, people are still excited. They still recognize that they're watching something special or the start of something special in this team.
And they knew Jim Harbaugh was going to be a recruiting wizard, but look at the class that he's been putting together for next season. It's pretty daunting.
Kickoff from Kenny Allen. That one's high and deep. Fielded right at the end line. Coming up the field. Met at the 15-yard line.
Good hit.
With Lexington Thomas. Brought down shallow of the 25-yard marker. And that's another good kick there by Kenny Allen.
Left that one just shy, maybe letting him make a return on that.
Ben Getty in the tackle. Three in the backfield with Decker. He's got two, one on each side and one behind him. Whiteley, the one behind him.
Michigan in that four-man front. That's all they need.
Play fake to Lexington Thomas. Met in the backfield by Mario Jamudia. Brought down for a loss.
Pack four on that front line. Leave a few defensive backs in the back. That's all the Wolverines have to do on this undersized offensive line for UNLV.
Just 49 yards on the ground for UNLV so far in this one.
8 through the air.
Rolling out to the right is Decker looking for a man. Has no one. Caught right at the edge by Brandon Presley. Just finding that man. That was really good vision. Presley was very tightly covered by Jabril Peppers. Peppers was off balance as Williams came inside.
First good pass
Presley coming inside.
Prior to that, only 8 yards through the air. That pass good for 9. Big 3rd down and 2 here.
Tight coverage. And then split out wide. Tough play going forward. Coming across was Thomas. He was met right at the line, but it looked like he was able to dive forward for an extra yard, pick up the first down. 6.5 minutes left in the half.
It was a good effort there from James Ross, who pulled him backwards about 2 yards shy of that first down marker, but lightly able to fight it off, get past that marker.
Clock continues to tick. You know, Leo Blavin, my co-broadcaster last week, commented, we're going to have a lot of quick games this year, I think, because Michigan really runs the ball and keeps the clock moving. Play fake to Whiteley. Decker keeps it, runs upfield. It didn't have a man. Big hit. Godin coming from behind. Taco Charlton laid on the weather, too. Out. Nevertheless, picks up a first down, but quarterback's got to protect himself there. Those are the plays that can knock you out of a game.
Already injured. He dropped the head there, too, towards the end.
Was initially hit by Charlton, and then Godin came in to finish it. And looked like Decker might have rolled his head underneath. Seems to be all right, though. He's still in the gun. Whiteley to his right, 3 out wide to the left. Straight pass play. Going to the right side. Harassed all the way downfield.
It's a good
by Jordan Lewis. And Jordan Lewis, you know, that looked like pass interference right there. Jordan Lewis is one of those defensive backs that, you know, he has that inside hand on a guy, keeps you from getting too far downfield, but hides it so well, and that's what makes him, you know, such a good shutdown corner, getting that left hand back in there to knock the ball out of the air.
That Lewis Island is a no-fly zone. That was a very well-thrown ball by Decker as well. It would have been right in the breadbasket had it not been for Jordan Lewis.
Handoff to Whiteley, goes up the middle, tackled right at the line of scrimmage. Mo Hurst on the tackle. Godin also getting credit there from the statistician. 3rd and 8, yet another 3rd and long to convert for Blake Deffer and the Rebs of UNLV. Clock ticking below 5 minutes left in this second quarter. In the gun, got 2 out wide to the right. 2 out wide to the left. Passing all the way, hit as he throws. Off balance throw out of the reach of his receiver. 4th down coming up.
Boyd again.
4th and 8 and another punt. Jabril Pepper is going to have a chance.
Decker took the big hit. See if Michigan decides to go for the block on the punt here, or if they go for the blocks to give Jabril a chance.
Punt is off. That one's a very high
fair catch.
Punt. Nice hang time. He's impressed me all day, Logan Yunker.
Even when Jabril had that nice punt return, it was still under very tight circumstances. Had 2 men on him. Really hasn't been given any open opportunity.
So Wolverines are going to start from their own 18, 1st and 10, 4:28 remaining in this half. And the Wolverines, no doubt, are just going to let their running backs take their time and try and run out this clock, send it to halftime. They already have a 3-score lead. It's 21-0 here in Ann Arbor. Wolverines are punishing the Rebs on the ground so far. 15 carries for 162 yards. The Longs, of course, Ty Isaac, the touchdown on the last drive. J.U. Chesson, the 36-yard touchdown the drive before that. Jake Rudock hasn't had to go the year much, as
probably a good thing.
At 41 yard, he has 41 yards, had the one touchdown to Davion Smith, also the one pick.
I keep going back, too, to that wide open Jake Butt in the end zone missed touchdown. Just a lot of miscues from Rudock. Not settled one bit.
Rudock and the Wolverines ready to go. 18-yard line. Got one split out to the left. Hand off to Davion Smith. Running right. Tried to cut it back inside. Brought down for look like a loss. They're going to give him the spot on forward progress. No gain on the play. 2nd and 10 from the 18.
Even when he didn't get a chance to gain any yards, Davion Smith still fighting right at the line of scrimmage for yards.
Quick throw to Chesson. Chesson, stiff arm, breaks a tackle, has another man, dives over him and picks up a big gain on 2nd and 10.
It was actually Mo Ways.
Mo Ways, Detroit Country Day graduate.
My Afro-American Studies partner this semester, talking about going and lifting the other day, and that lifting, working there with that stiff arm, do those wrist curls, 50 sets of 50.
Just like Dan Ugla.
You get those biceps and throw them right off you, Mo.
Hand off to Smith. Cutting up the middle, met at the line. Offensive line is getting lazy here to close out the first half, not making the holes for their running back. 3:20 left on the clock.
Got some different sets back out on the field now. Looks like Drake Harris out there. But back in the game. Smith still in the backfield.
Pass from Rudock. Looking to the left. This one's deep. Harris makes the catch, but he's out of bounds. That would have been the longest pass play by the Wolverines by far this season. But lofted just a little too far for Harris to keep that foot in.
Still a good throw, just a little long. I like the play call by the Wolverines there, letting that run game bite him in close and try and burn him deep there. He had one-on-one. Did Drake Harris.
Chesson in motion pre-snap, going over to the right side. 3 wide receivers out right. Passing all the way, and now Rudock doesn't have a man. He's going to try and go left. Rolling way in the backfield. Now has a lot of space. Still looking for a man. Fakes the throw and now cuts upfield. Nice pump fake. He had Freddie Canteen way downfield. He was never going to try and make that throw. Faked out the one man that was going to try and tackle him, and was able to pick up 7 yards there, 7 or 8.
The old NCAA college football video game strategy. Run left, don't see anything, run back right. Try and get as many blocks as you can along the way and open up some green.
Turn around, do the hokey pokey while you're at it. That's basically what he did there in the backfield. Nice job evading the tacklers. You know, Rudock,
good leverage on him.
Yeah, he is not a spread quarterback, but he does. He is able to move in the pocket, and that's important. Rudock going to take a timeout there. He was in the huddle, realized he only had about 7 seconds on the play clock. They have that timeout. You know, they got 1 minute 52 seconds till halftime. Still 2 timeouts remaining. Not that they are really going to need them. Up 21-0. They can basically just run whatever they want here and try and put the ball into the end zone.
Big game this afternoon, Georgia Tech at Notre Dame. See how Notre Dame can handle themselves with Malik Zaire out.
I think that's going to be a game Notre Dame drops. You know, last week they had a lot of trouble against a very middling UVA team. You know, I think coming up with a game-winning score right at the end there.
That Georgia Tech triple option is one of the most fun offenses to watch in college football, but it is so difficult to defend against.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the military academies, except they're able to recruit. They're able to recruit, the top players, and I think they have definitely a better defense. You look at the people that go to the military academies; they're by no means unfit football players, but they aren't really football player type body sets. They're lean muscle, and not the type of guys that are able to really dominate other big-time college football players. But Georgia Tech, they're able to recruit those types of guys because they do play in the ACC. They're, they don't have the same academic requirements and all that. Michigan punting, 4th and 1 from the 48. Blake O'Neill takes a big boot. This one's short.
Not a good punt at all.
Shanked that one.
He's kind of standing clueless down on the 35-yard line there, looking back at it, like what just happened.
Harbaugh has the hands on the hips. 35-yard line is where they're gonna mark that one out. UNLV has not made it across midfield yet today.
Well, I have a chance.
62 yards on the ground, 20 in the air. Michigan's defense continuing to dominate.
That punt looked a lot like my 5-iron shot. Just tailed off short and right.
So the 7-iron is perfect from 175, but the 5-iron is
golf is a mysterious game, Eli.
Hand off to Lexington Thomas. Oh, fumbled, and Michigan looked like they recovered. It looked like Chris Wormley might have gotten to it, but not really clear after, he didn't quite have the hand on it, got away from him.
Looked like Whiteley came back and got it and stole it back from Wormley, but Decker lost it, and then Wormley was on top of it.
Yeah, Wormley just had one hand on it, and Whiteley was able to wrestle that out, 2 arms. In any case, a big loss, 8 yards on first down. They're 2nd and 18 from the 27. 3 split out wide to the right. Decker runs right up the middle, brought down for about a yard. Ojemudia getting into the backfield, just getting the shoelaces of Decker.
Way to wrap him up there, Ojemudia. Actually, I think it was Hurst. 73, not 53. Yeah, no, that was Mo Hurst Jr. Wrapped him up on the legs. Nonetheless, a good tackle by the Wolverines defense.
Wolverines could be getting the ball back here. There's 24 seconds left, 3rd and 17. Hand off to Whiteley. He has a lot of space up the middle, but gets basically back to the original line of scrimmage. 4th and 9 coming up. 15 seconds on the clock. Looks like Michigan took a timeout.
UNLV leaving their offense out on the field. Might just try and burn what time is left on the clock here in the half.
Maybe Michigan did not take a timeout. Their defense was just heading off the field. They were standing around for a good long time. Now there's confluence of referees over the ball. Referee picked the ball up. Looked like he was getting ready to walk back.
It was on the 36. Now they're walking it all the way back to the 27.
And the offsides on the defense, apparently. 5-yard penalty. They're going to repeat 3rd down.
That should effectively end the half on that last play then.
And it looks like a timeout came off the board for Michigan. It says they have 1 remaining. I'm not sure if that's an error on the part of the scoreboard operator or... And now Harbaugh is yelling in the ref's ear to get the clock started. They do wave the arm, and clock is in motion. Handoff to Whiteley. He has a lot of room upfield, tackled by Delano Hill.
Another flag.
In the secondary, flag in the backfield, could be holding coming up. Clock ticks to 0, so in all likelihood, that is the end of the half, barring something strange. Indication is indeed holding, so we're going to halftime, 21-0 for the Wolverines. as they head to the tunnel. And just an amazing half on the ground for the Wolverines. 171 yards rushing. Much of that on 2 touchdowns by Jay Chesson and Ty Isaac. 36 yards from Chesson, 84 from Isaac. Wolverines having 9.5 on the ground right now. They're punishing the Rebels of UNLV. So that's going to do it for our first half coverage. We'll be back in just about 20 minutes with the second half of University of Michigan football live at the Big House. Wolverines in the lead, 21-0. See you soon. And welcome back to Ann Arbor. You're listening to WCBN Sports Broadcast. University of Michigan football leading the UNLV Rebels 21-0 at halftime. I'm Eli Sherman alongside Jeremy Parks. Wolverines ran all over the Rebels in the first half. 171 yards on the ground on just 18 carries, 9.5 the average. What's the key for the Wolverines here in the second half? Obviously just going to look to maintain the lead and keep everybody healthy. What do you think we're going to see out of the Wolverines?
Well, I hope to see Drake Johnson maybe get a few snaps here, a few reps in the second half, give him an opportunity to come back off that injury, get a couple of runs in there. Other than that, the Wolverines are just going to keep pounding. Don't get lazy on the offensive side of the ball. Don't create any silly turnovers, and keep doing what they did in the first half. That was about as good as it could have gone, with the exception of the interception from Rudolph.
Nikolai Bornand, the kicker for the Rebels. First time we said his name all day. He is taking his first kickoff as the Rebels haven't scored. Haven't even attempted a field goal. Peppers back to return. Kick goes over towards J.U. Chesson. That ball bounces up into the air and into the sideline of the end zone. Touchback. Chesson didn't have an opportunity at it. So the Wolverines are going to take over from their own 25-yard line. Jake Rudock coming back out. He's 6 of 11 on the day, 62 yards, touchdown, and an interception to his credit. That touchdown, a 4-yard pass to Davion Smith out on the wide right side after missing Jake Butt, who was wide open on the previous play. Drake Johnson is in the game for the Wolverines at running back. They have a deformed I formation. Carriage gets the ball, tackled at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
Be interesting to see how many snaps they let Drake Johnson get in the second half. Michigan's sitting comfortably. They can play around quite a bit here in the second.
And Carriage is a guy that needs to get back into the swing of game reps. He, of course, tore his ACL against Ohio State midway through the game last November down in Columbus. I formation, Poggi the fullback. Jake Butt in motion as the tight end. Handoff goes to Johnson. He goes up the middle. Hit, brought down for a 4-yard gain.
4-yard gains all day long, pushing it downfield.
3rd and 5 from the 30.
It was a good hole for Drake Johnson.
Wolverines are going to continue to take their time, let the clock run, call the play they want to call. Rudock in the gun. He has Johnson to his right as a blocking back. Canteen and Darlow out to the right. Has Johnson way out wide in the flat. Johnson could not get his hands on it as it was thrown behind him. Rudock, another inaccurate throw. If he's able to put that in Johnson's hands, Johnson's got the whole field to run free.
Johnson would have been down the sidelines there. Very similar to the Jake Butt pass earlier in the first half. Wide open receiver, got both hands up calling for it. Rudock just overthrows him and underthrows on this one.
So the Wolverines a quick 3 and out on their first possession of the second half. Punt team has been pretty effective so far today. Nice line drive punt, gets down on the ground at the 20, bounces out at the 11-yard line. Michigan's gunners didn't have to do anything with it. Went well over the head of the returner, Criswell.
Can't do it much better than that. Blake O'Neill just did. Dropped it right in there.
And so UNLV, after getting a nice stop, gets field position absolutely turned on them, starting from their own 11. Blake Decker in under center. Has a fullback behind him to the left. Hands off to Whiteley. Met behind the line and brought down for a loss. Matt Godin in the backfield, breaking through the offensive line and just absolutely laying down the law on Keith Whiteley.
Desmond Morgan coming in with the assist as well, and Keith Whiteley's taken a beating today by this Michigan defensive line. But they just keep trying to push him through, and occasionally they'll get a 5-6 yard run, but other than that, he gets drubbed just about every time.
Handoff goes to Whiteley again, running left this time, trying to get to the edge, brought out, tackled out of bounds for a loss of 1 yard line. It's going to be 3rd and 11 from the 10.
Absolutely demoralizing. Just, you can't pass the ball, so they continue to run it. You're really the only running back for the Rebels, and you can't do much.
And Whiteley, 11 rushes for 24 yards on the day. That's just got to feel like, talk about running in peanut butter.
Grinding it out.
Picking up nothing, going nowhere. Looks like a running play again. They hand off to Whiteley, up the middle, tackled at the line. 3 straight plays. The Wolverines' defensive line holds strong and just stuffs Whiteley for no gain or a loss. No gain on that one. 3rd and 11 from the 10, or 4th and 11 from the 10. Hadn't changed the scoreboard yet. Another punt forced by the Wolverines defense. Jabril Peppers is going to have his heels on the 51-yard line. Looking to pick up.
Still hasn't gotten a whole lot of open space in the return game yet today. He did have the one big return for about 20 yards earlier. Threw a lot of blocks.
High punt, good hang time. Gunners are there. Peppers makes a fair catch, had to retreat back into Michigan territory. Spot's going to be at the 43-yard line of Michigan. And Michigan will look to get a little bit more momentum than they had on the last drive. Wolverines 3 and out for the first time today. Scoreboard plugging Michigan soccer right now. Of course, as Jeremy mentioned, both men's and women's soccer will be playing tomorrow at home. Men's facing off with Northwestern. Big conference matchup for them.
It's really a big day for the soccer program as a whole, both men's and women's. Very rarely do you see a back-to-back men's-women's game. Really hoping to pull out the fans for tomorrow.
And we will have the call for you on WCBN Sports. Jeremy will be doing play-by-play duties down at the U of M soccer complex.
We're going to have some new guys out there tomorrow. Going to get some fresh blood out on there. This is my favorite part of the game, by the way. Veteran of the game.
World War II veteran, earned the Purple Heart, Joe Hindman of the 99th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army. And you're right. I think these moments are very special. I particularly like when they do this at hockey games for the Ward Warriors. Both teams are giving stick taps to that guy, and it really reminds you that whatever happens on the field here, we're all Americans, and this is a united country.
It just gives you chills when you hear this stadium, Yost, when you hear Chrysler, any one of the major sports that do these veteran of the games each week. When they send them out onto the field or at Yost, when they have them stand up in the stands and you hear that roar of the crowd and the USA chants, it gives you chills down your spine.
Special moment every week. Wolverines up 21-0 here, 11:30 left in this third quarter. Wolverines starting their drive at the 43-yard line, their own side of the field.
Blue skies now here in Ann Arbor. Looks like the clouds are starting to move more southward. We've got some clear blue moving from Central Campus down here to the southern end where the stadium is.
Very light blue, high pressure system rolling in. The temperatures dropped a little bit. Wind is whipping around now. I mentioned it was around 10 to 15 miles per hour at the start. Now it's in the 15 to 20 range.
Maryland beating University of South Florida 21-10 in the second after an embarrassing loss last week. Minnesota up 10-0 on Kent State. Michigan State beating Air Force 28-7. Michigan's back out there. Rudock with Drake Johnson in the backfield. Pitches off to Johnson.
Flip to Johnson. He has a lot of room upfield. Going to the left side. Takes a big hit as he crosses midfield, but tackled at the 46-yard line, 47-yard line of UNLV. Looking at weather.com, 66 the temperature here. mostly cloudy, winds 20 miles an hour, gusting at 27, so that will certainly play a role in the passing game. We expect Jake Rudock to certainly keep the ball out of the air as much as possible with the wind whipping around down there on the field.
See the American flag at the southern end of the field here.
Full and upright attention.
In the Michigan face.
Rudock under center. Play fake to Johnson, looking downfield, can't find a man. Gonna run, tackle, no, breaks a tackle. Thought he was going down, spoke too soon, and ends up picking up enough for the first down, diving forward.
He had some options downfield, but unable to make the throw, but skirts across for the first down.
Looked like Darius Mouton, the one in the backfield that I mistakenly said, had brought down Rudock. Mouton had Rudock's left shoelace in hand and oh so slippery. Getting out of there alive was Rudock. 1st and 10 from the 45. Michigan going heavy up the middle. Davion Smith gets the ball. Hits and keeps going, trying to pick up a few more. Didn't get anything after he was hit. Brought down for about a 4-yard gain on first down.
Just power in the ball. Continuing to do what Michigan has done all afternoon. They're about to surpass 200 yards on the ground. After that run, they sit at 192. And it has been run after run after run right down the throats of this UNLV defense.
This will be 2 consecutive weeks of 200-plus yards on the ground if they're able to get there. Just 8 more yards to go. Quick pass from Rudock out to Darbo on the screen. Breaks a tackle, running up the sideline, picks up the first down. The line judge is saying he stepped out of bounds. That's surprising. Going to mark it just short. The chains had already started to move. And now all the chain gang is seeing that, and they're kind of shrugging and walking back to the previous setup.
We're
looking at the replay.
The toe might have touched.
Looked like
the toe was very close.
A few toes on that left foot. Pinky toe.
Good eye there from the sideline referee.
Michigan came to the line with one setup and then had 3 big boys move around. Davion Smith, men on the line in the backfield, brought down for no gain. And Michigan's attempts to...
Might even be a loss of a yard after they mark it.
Their attempts to confuse UNLV are unsuccessful. It looks like they're going to stay on the field, though, and try and go for this big 4th down.
Would have been a 53-yard field goal were they to try and go for it.
Also punting into the wind.
The punt into the wind and short field.
Michigan's offensive line moving around. Hand off to Davion Smith. Diving forward. Doesn't look like he got it. Nice 4th down stop by UNLV, coming up and breaking through Michigan's offensive line.
Michigan prior to that were 3 of 4 on 4th down conversions so far this year. 2 of 3, I'm mistaken. That brings them to 50% on the season on 4th down. And just a very predictable play call, in my opinion. Give the ball to Davion and try and have him power it up the middle.
Well, in a lot of cases, I think that works. And
when you run it 8 plays in a row, it becomes a little predictable. It's that Doug Nussmeier mindset. Draw play, draw play, draw play.
Decker in the gun, hands off to Xavier Campbell. First touch for him today. Runs left, brought down for a 3-yard gain.
Big Ten play getting underway tonight. Rutgers playing at Penn State in Happy Valley at 8 o'clock this evening.
That is, that's going to be a circus, to say the least. 2 teams in dire conditions. Play fake to Whiteley. Pass out into the flat. Catch made by George Nafuhu. Fullback.
Throw it to him again. I want to hear you say it again.
Pollendeck in at quarterback now. We mentioned that he was potentially going to get the start today with Blake Decker injured. Apparently Blake Decker, not clear whether or not he's injured, but he's
taken some hits throughout the game and continues to come back into the gun.
He is, at the very least, being pulled to get some rest. Maybe a new quarterback will help them find some consistency on offense. Handoff to Campbell, met in the backfield. Wolverines get him for a loss. UNLV going with
Ryan
some of the backups right now.
Ryan Glasgow stuffs him like a Thanksgiving turkey. Put him back for 3-yard loss. Consistency on offense. I guess they're maintaining the same consistency of mediocrity. Failing to get any big gains here.
101 total yards midway through the third quarter is a little bit worse than mediocrity, if I may say so myself. Palandek drops back to pass, finds a man out in the flat, and the stiff arm breaks a tackle from Joe Bolden. Diving forward is Andrew Price. Picks up the first down.
UNLV managing to cross the 50-yard line. A rare sight this afternoon.
So Palandek is actually getting the offense moving a little bit, getting the sand out of their shoes. 6 minutes left in this third quarter. Wolverines still up 21-0. But UNLV is driving and threatening to score for the first time today. Play fake to Campbell. Throwing out wide, misses his man. That intended for Brandon Presley.
Peppers was sort of slacked off on coverage there. Just a poor throw from Palandek. Palandek, not the biggest quarterback out there on the field. 6'2", $185. Sophomore out of Plainville, Illinois.
He's certainly skinny in the pocket. Got kind of a lanky frame.
Hasn't really had to move around a whole lot yet.
In the gun, one tight end in a three-point stance on the right side, three split out wide to the left. Looking left to throw. Brought down in the backfield. Initially there was Matt Godin, but that slowed him down just enough for Hurst and Taco Charlton to come in and record the sack. Wolverines get a big loss there on second down. It's 3rd and 14 coming up for the Rebels.
The turkey shoot continues for the Michigan defense. They're having a field day out there, padding those defensive stats on these Rebels.
Godin just sheds the block coming off the inside, has a stranglehold on Palandek's shoe.
They're just bullying that offensive line.
Palandek drops back to pass, has a man brought down behind the line of scrimmage. That screen pass went nowhere. Kendall Keys, the receiver there. And 4th down coming up.
Willie Henry landing the big hit on Palandek as he threw. But again, right as we said, they're bullying him. 3 Michigan linemen were already through the offensive line by the time I'd said it.
And now Wynn well at the back of Logan Yunker, the punter. Michigan, I think, going to try and go for the block here. They're stacking up on the line. They're rushing a whole bunch. Punt goes through the back of the end zone. Touchback. And a smart play there. You know, I hate to criticize the past administration here in the football program, but you know, I don't think we would have seen that out of a Brady Hoke special teams unit, and having the wherewithal to on a punt in a short field where you know it's probably going out the back of the end zone, just rush everybody and try and come up with the block.
Put the pressure on.
You know, having situational awareness is huge.
And we've seen them get the pressure in there too. It's not like they're gambling and failing. It's the pressure has been effective both last week and this week.
The TV timeout on the field. Update you on other scores in the Big Ten. Illinois trailing North Carolina 20-7.
Do they have a coach yet?
Early in the third quarter. No, they're going with the interim still. I think it doesn't make too much sense to try and install a new coaching staff mid-season.
When you fire the old ball coach 2 weeks before the opening game,
you're in for a rough season to say the least. Yeah, I agree. South Florida and Maryland, as Jeremy mentioned, 21-0 in Maryland's favor.
21-10.
21-10, excuse me. Early in the third quarter. Michigan State beating up on Air Force 28-7 in the third. Minnesota having some trouble with Kent State 10-7 early third quarter. Minnesota is probably going to run away. I think a lot of people think they're going to run away with the Big Ten West this year, and they're kind of a lock to be in the Big Ten championship game. They do have a very stout defense, but they are showing signs of weakness here against Kent State. Duke and Northwestern are at 7-3. Northwestern is ranked for the first time in
who knows how long.
For all I know, forever. You know, I've been following college football for 15 years, give or take, and to my memory, I do not remember Northwestern ever being ranked before. Anyways, they trail 7-3 against Duke at halftime. That's the battle of two very, very good schools.
I still praise Pat Fitzgerald and the job that Pat Fitzgerald has done with that Northwestern program. I think there's a lot of work left to be done, but the sign that they are ranked,
they don't have a lot to work with, to be quite honest. Northern Illinois and Ohio State are going to be kicking off at 3:30. Virginia Tech and Purdue.
Let's go salute.
Troy and Wisconsin also at 3:30. Indiana and Western Kentucky at 4. And Rutgers and Penn State. Pittsburgh and Iowa, both 8 p.m. starts tonight.
Odds that the Salukis put pressure on Ohio State.
I think it's iffy. I think iffy at best. Northern Illinois is probably the best MAC team. They've been the best MAC team for several years now. Rudock hands off the ball to Drake Johnson on first down. He has a lot of space on the left side.
About 10 yards.
Picks up
Pretty
9 and a
smidgen.
Down. They're going to rule it just short. It's going to be 2nd and 1. But, Northern Illinois certainly the best MAC school, year in and year out. Some years they're not necessarily the best, but over a long period they've been really the dominant MAC school. But I don't think they really stand a chance in Columbus tonight. Another handoff to Johnson, hit right at the line, took a big hit to the helmet. Gets up, seems fine, picks up enough for the first down.
Mistakenly called Northern Illinois the Salukis. That's their counterpart down to the south. Northern Illinois the Huskies. Got a fast wave going here.
The student section does lead the wave here. They got the slow wave going sometimes. They got the fast wave. Sometimes they have two waves going at the same time.
This stadium is still packed.
Rudock play fake on first down. Quick throw out to Joe Carriage. Has a lot of space on the right side. Tackled for a 7-yard gain on first down.
Carriage isn't getting up right away. He's rolling over on his back. Looks like he might be holding his knee there. He was taken out at the knee.
Get a little bit closer view of it on TV. I do think it's that left knee, if I had to guess.
That was the outside knee for him. Yeah. Helmet right into the knee, the upper thigh.
And as he goes down, that knee is absolutely inflexible. I think that's kind of a hyperextension. Could be.
It's going to leave a nasty bruise at the least.
Could be a more permanent injury.
Joe Carriage finally getting back to some solid playing time. Not what you want to see for him out here. He's still down, being attended to by the medical staff.
He gets up. He's certainly gimpy, but he is walking off under his own power.
It's a good sign. Yeah, he took a pretty hard helmet to the left knee there.
And
right where that thigh blocker plate quits guarding you.
Up 21-0. I am. It's never safe to make guarantees in sports broadcasting, but it's about as good as a guarantee as you're going to get that he's not going to be back in this game. Why risk it even if he is able to play?
I wouldn't be surprised to see him go right to the locker room here after a quick check.
Going to take a seat on the bench.
No, he's already headed back to
the medical table, that is.
Yeah.
Rudock hands off to Ty Isaac in the game now. Isaac picks up the first down after Carriage's 8-yard reception there on first. Wolverines just get over 200 yards on the ground for the day.
Ty Isaac with that gorgeous run back in late into the first half.
And it's 1st and 10 from Michigan's 45. 2:27 left in this third quarter. Excuse me. Chesson in motion. Handoff to Huma. He goes right up the middle, tackled for a 2-yard gain.
And the big yellow sun has come out now to glisten down on those maize and blue helmets, basking in sunlight.
Beautiful day in Ann Arbor. Clouds have cleared up. Still quite a bit windy.
Pretty picturesque day for some mid-September football.
Rudock changing the play at the line. Hands the ball off to Drake Johnson. Up the middle, big hole, bounces off one man. Tackled just across midfield, 48-yard line.
Good job there by Huma. Huma was out on the left side, came back in for the block, created the hole.
3rd and 3 coming up for the Wolverines, looking for another conversion. The Wolverines are 4 of 8 on 3rd downs today. Good indication of how your day is going is normally that 3rd down conversion percentage. Rudock back to pass. Looking downfield, has Darbo just out of his reach. Darbo laying out. Going for the big play there. Tipped off his hand, and Wolverines are looking at 4th and 3. Punting team coming back onto the field.
Gutsy decision there by Rudock. I like the choice to go out to Darbo. Just overthrew him a little bit.
You know, to be honest, I think Rudock had the space that he could have run. He had about 4 yards free space to his right and about 6 to his left and 10 to downfield in the downfield direction. You know, could have definitely given it a scamper and tried to convert. Fair catch made at the 13-yard line.
Pauled in finally at about the 17.
Keith Whiteley,
place it.
The returner for the Rebels. 51 seconds left in this third quarter. Wolverines up 21-0.
Very slow second half here in the third quarter. Just a lot of ho-humness from the Wolverines. Got out to that early controlling lead against the UNLV Rebels and haven't looked back since. But really haven't been all that impressive in my estimation so far this afternoon.
And the Wolverines, 216 yards on the ground, 75 in the air.
Really, and out of that 200 plus yards, 2 of those, 2 plays account for almost half of that. Very underwhelming performance against a team that the Wolverines were expected to drub. They're not slouching by any means, but not the margin of victory that most saw coming into this game so far.
Yeah, Michigan, of course, a 35-point favorite, 34-point favorite, and you know those big lines. Normally, I'd say those are the hardest ones to predict because if it gets to the point where a team is up 30 points on another team, you know, who knows whether or not they're going to try and run up the score or put in some other guys that won't necessarily be able to put the points on the board necessary to get to that line, or also potentially put in second and third stringers on the defense who will be more susceptible to letting in a score. Wolverines in this quarter, 45 yards on the ground, 13 in the air, 0 for 3 on third downs. They've had 3 3-and-outs.
You wonder how much Tim Drevno, too, might be laying off, just deciding to continually run the ball, keep it on the ground, as opposed to if it were slightly closer of a game, if they would go to the air a bit more. But, again, with the inconsistency from Rudock, it's kind of hard to justify passing the ball.
On first down, Decker back in the game, throws it, nearly picked off. I think that one hit the ground.
They're saying no catch.
Making the catch was Jordan Lewis, but
might be a pass
Gerard Wilson, excuse me. But I think it hit the ground before he came up with it. Flags are all over the field.
Yep, gonna see pass interference call here. It appeared as though he was well off the defender when that happened. Was that on Peppers?
They did not give a number. Interesting on that, but
because it looked as though the intended receiver for the Rebels was a good 3-4 yards in front of the closest Michigan
Jared
defender.
Wilson, yeah, that pass interference was Delano Hill kind of in the foreground of the play. Wilson coming over from the safety position to try and pick that one off. Another throw to the right side, and now Jeremy Clark coming up with the interception, cutting under the route, getting inside of Kendall Keys, and making that pick at the 43-yard line, coming right down with the ball. Wolverines retain possession there. Blake Decker, the struggles continue, and the Wolverines had the ball right back.
Fighting Kendall Keys down that sideline, bobbled up in the air. Great concentration there by Jeremy Clark to keep his eye on the ball and make that interception. The concentration to pull it in. Michigan going to start with great field position here again. Rudock lines up. Looks to be Johnson in the backfield. There's Ty Isaac. Ty Isaac in the backfield. Plays blown dead as Rudock drops back.
Harbaugh took a timeout. Looked like the play clock was ticking down a little too low. That is indeed the case. Harbaugh on top of things. So in the meantime, we'll update you on the national scores, non-Big Ten. Missouri and Connecticut in an ugly matchup right now, 9-6 the score late in the third quarter. Connecticut with the ball. Connecticut 2-0 to start off this season, looking to get a big win off a ranked opponent from the SEC.
Missouri only had 2 points at halftime, so must have scored a touchdown in the last few minutes here. It was 6-2 at the half.
Nevada and A&M. Nevada trailing 10-31 in the third quarter. It's also Oklahoma 31-24 in favor of Oklahoma at halftime. We mentioned Michigan State. We mentioned Northwestern. Oregon up 7-0 against Georgia State early in the first quarter. They scored, and there's 10:55 left in the first quarter. They already have the ball back.
That'll be a fun one.
Rudock under center, 1st and 10. Hands the ball off to Ty Isaac. Met at the line, rolls around, now has a lot of space. Breaks a tackle in the secondary to break one free. Tackled at the 44-yard line of UNLV. Ty Isaac, another big game there.
Kind of disappeared in all of those blocks there and came out the other end.
Isaac picks up 15 yards there on first down. He's now Michigan's leading rusher by a long shot here today. 105 yards on just 5 carries. Of course, the big one, the 76-yard touchdown in that second quarter.
Good hold there from Kalis Glasgow and Braden up on the front.
And so we've hit the end of the third quarter. Wolverines still lead 21-0. You're listening to WCBN Sports, University of Michigan football, and the UNLV Rebs. Wolverines haven't been able to really pull away here in this second half, but they definitely
still are controlling the pace of the game.
Showed that they are dominating things here right now. Attendance announcement.
I guess 106 earlier.
260th consecutive game at 100,000 plus. Today, 108,683, yet another overcapacity crowd here at the Big House.
Impressive.
Going back to the other games in play today, Auburn and LSU, the big one today, 3:30 p.m. Number 18 Auburn in Baton Rouge facing off number 13 LSU. That's a big early SEC game.
Auburn looking pretty defeated last week. Hopefully they show up a little bit more in the Tiger Den.
Two Tiger teams there. Oklahoma State and Texas at San Antonio playing at 3:30. Other big one, Georgia Tech and Notre Dame, number 14 Georgia Tech and number 8 Notre Dame. They're playing in South Bend coming up at 3:30. That is going to be a good one to watch. I think we kind of touched on that one earlier. South Carolina and Georgia in Athens. SMU TCU, big in-state rivalry. Stanford at USC, I think that's a potential upset. Later on tonight, Stanford got beat by Northwestern. I think Northwestern is showing that they're a better team than people give them credit for, but still we'll see Stanford going on the road to USC.
Is Steve Sarkisian the answer for the Trojans?
That's a good question.
Are they back?
I don't know if they'll ever have the same success that Pete Carroll had.
It seems as though every season for about the last 4 seasons, it's predicted USC's back. USC's going to be back, and it's been debacle after debacle for the Trojans.
Certainly, I think UCLA is a great indication because UCLA has really taken advantage of that and retaken the attention in LA. Ole Miss and Alabama is the national game of the week. Ole Miss, number 15 in the country, Alabama, number 2. They're in Tuscaloosa. Personally, I'd like to see Ole Miss pull one out down there. That'd be a very interesting
last year
prospect. BYU, number 19, and number 10, UCLA. That's going to be an important matchup for Michigan to watch because BYU, of course, is Michigan's opponent next week, and also UCLA is a team that's played this UNLV team, so kind of some cross-opponent matchups there, and Michigan will get a good look at what they're facing. Utah-Fresno State are in play at 10:30, and the late game, Northern Arizona and Arizona in Tucson. But again, the BYU and UCLA matchup certainly will be probably the more interesting one for Michigan fans. Ole Miss, Alabama, the more interesting one for college football fans in general.
Jim Mora losing players left and right down there at UCLA. Lost Snoop Dogg's son.
Cordell Broadus, yeah.
Decided he didn't want to play football anymore.
Rudak's ready to go. 45 of UNLV. Back to pass. Has Jake Butt across the middle. His first catch of the day. Fighting forward. Was met about 8 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Nearly got the first down. I think they're going to mark it just short. Going to call it 2nd and 1 from the 35.
Good look as Ryan McAleenan just fell off in coverage for the Rebels. Yeah, Jake Butt really hadn't been much of a factor yet this game.
He has been a big factor in terms of blocking the kind of the non-glory numbers, but he has you're right, he hasn't gotten a touch. Ty Isaac with the carry there, running left, finding a hole, picking up the first down and more down to the 29-yard line. Solid 6 yards there on 2nd and 1 to put Michigan in very close striking distance. Rudock under the gun. He has Grant Perry out to the right. Hands off to Isaac. Isaac going left. Trying to get some separation from the men trailing from behind. Picks up 4 yards on first down. And in a situation like this, I'd like to see Rudock, maybe take a shot at the end zone. There is going to be a time at some point this season where, maybe in a 2-minute drill type situation, you need to take a shot to the corner and go for a fade route. We haven't seen that this year.
They're getting a bit more courageous, though, I think. As the game has gone on, they've gone a little bit more out in the play call. Look at Chesson out wide on the right.
Rudock from under center. But in motion, come to the right side. He's now in the slot. Rudock back to pass. Fires all day. He has Chesson. Chesson good for the first down. Brought down at the 14-yard line. Nice play by Chesson coming in under the route, making the catch as he goes to the ground.
Saw him from the lineup. Chesson had the isolation way out on the right-hand side. It was a one-on-one the whole way. Cut under well enough to get himself open. Good throw by Rudock.
And a good route design by Dan Trubno.
Very.
Drake Harris in the game for the Wolverines. He's going to be split out to the left. Isolation over there. Could see him go over there. A.J. Williams on the right side of the line. Quick pass to Drake Harris. Screenshot. Has one man to beat. Trying to break the tackle. Just unable to do so. Tackled out of the bounds at the 4-yard line. And now we get a big cheer from this crowd. Michigan knows what Drake Harris has been through. If he's able to get his first collegiate touchdown.
Just got to get a bit bigger. I think as the years go on, he's going to get a little bit more of that leg strength, able to break those tackles. But he's had a few good receptions here in the last 2 weeks, getting a couple of opportunities. His hands have been fairly true.
Mo Ways now the single split out wide to the left. I formation for the Wolverines. Ty Isaac, the tailback, gets the pitch play, trying to get to the edge. A whole gang of UNLV defenders takes him down right at the line, maybe a 1-yard loss. 3rd and 3 coming up from the 6. Wolverines can still pick up a first down.
Big play here. I'd like to see what they decide to do. Thinking a little play action. Roll out to the right.
Ian Bunting coming in. Amaro Darbo in. Mo Ways and Henry Pogge coming out. Michigan going with a little bit lighter lineup here. Could be looking to pass.
Look at Amari Darbo isolated out on the left.
Jake Butt coming to the left. He's in the slot. Now finding Huma out in the flat. He has the catch. Has enough for the first down. Just getting across the line. Siona Huma, his first collegiate touchdown for the Maize and Blue Wolverines. Pending the extra point, going to go up 28-0 here at home against the UNLV Rebels.
And a long time coming for Sione Huma, another classmate of mine in that Afro-American Studies class with Mo Ways. He's been waiting for that touchdown for 4 years now. And
popular class there.
Yeah, quite.
Afro-American Studies.
Also had Logan Tooley-Tillman up until last week.
And a whistle on the field. We could be getting a review. We are going to get a review on whether or not he was able to get the ball to cross the plane. As I mentioned, he did get enough for a first down. It would probably be 1st and goal from about the 1 if they do call this back. Let's see if we can get a replay.
I hope not.
He went down near, he was kind of parallel to the line.
I think they might take it back. I think it might be on the half-yard line.
As he took the hit from Kenny Keys.
The knee went down right at that moment. What a moment for the senior out of Salt Lake City, Utah, though.
Yeah, the knee is down at the 1-yard line. I think Jeremy had it right. What would be interesting is if, this gets called back and Harbaugh makes the call, go right back to Huma. He is a fullback. He can push his way down.
He's a fullback
in a pile.
He's been waiting for the moment. He's got the power. They have the room as well with the first down to let him run free for at least a down.
That would certainly earn him a helmet sticker or 2.
He's rocking about 7 on the back there. Really hasn't seen a whole lot of action in all his years at Michigan.
Ref comes back with the
down at the half.
Conclusion down at the half-yard line. So it's going to be first down. It was 3rd and 3 from the 6.
Huma's going to come back out. He's going to trot back to the line.
A.J. Williams coming out, so Michigan probably going to go with something big. Maybe give the ball to Huma, as hinted at.
Give it to the big boy.
Isaac, the tailback behind Huma. Rudock hands the ball off to Huma. Down. See, the very next play picks up his first collegiate touchdown, and you got to wonder, that one might even feel better than the play that got called back, knowing that his coach was giving him that one to tack one on the board and then doing the job. You know, he knows from the get-go, this is my play, this is mine to do, and he executes big time. Wolverines.
Class act from Jim Harbaugh, giving him the ball again, letting him get the touchdown.
28-0 over the Rebels. 11:31 left here in the fourth quarter.
How about it, Sione?
That Wolverine scoring drive, 9 plays, 59 yards, 4 minutes and 4 seconds. A solid clock-controlling drive, ending with the touchdown there.
Camera is down on Huma. I don't think he's passed a hand yet without a congratulations from every player on that sideline. Chase Winovich, all the way down to the athletic training staff.
The grad student assistants are even part of this.
A special moment for the senior.
Big time. That's got to put a charge in this team, you know.
It's
obviously this game is well out of reach for UNLV, but it's something to rally around in practice and say, hey, you know, a guy that's been busting his butt around this team for the better part of several years now, you know, half a decade he's been on this campus, and
that was his moment.
That's his moment, and you know, to the young guys, you can say, you know, you can get yours if you put in the effort like him. Something to build off of as they go forward. Tough test coming up next week at home against BYU. You know, I think a lot of people looked at Michigan's non-conference schedule as possibly a 2-2 start. You know, BYU and Utah.
It's not
two Utah teams are two very stellar opponents, and if Michigan were able to pull out that win next week, that would be
head into the conference with a 3-1 record.
That would be a big boost for Harbaugh in his first year,
and
making the way towards bowl eligibility.
And the one loss being a close loss against a good Utah team at that. My goodness.
On the board, they just showed the probably the most famous cheerleader at Michigan these days, Nate Janes. Many know him from being the most vocal member of the Children of Yost. Cowbell toter. Is
it hockey season yet, Eli?
It's nearly hockey season. We saw Red Berenson during halftime, actually.
Where was he?
He was downstairs in the press box.
Did he say something to me when we walked by?
I think he was heading for an interview with Jim Brandstatter.
Gotta love Red.
Trying to fill that time in between halves.
Saw Red at Pizza House last week.
Great guy.
Hell of a coach. Seen some great talent come through here. Yesterday we saw Montreal Canadiens. Did you catch that? Catch who the new captain is?
Patches.
There you go.
Max Pacioretty, University of Michigan grad. I remember seeing him play, and you know, back in the Big Chill days. That was big for Michigan.
As an avowed Leafs fan, I can't support the Habs, but I'll support Patches to the end.
Kenny Allen set to kick. Back to return Criswell and Thomas. This one back to the end of the end zone. Criswell unable to do anything with it. The wind well in Kenny Allen's favor. Coming basically straight north to south, maybe a little bit out of the west. And the stands here have started to empty a little bit, I think, after that last touchdown. Everybody said, let's go put on a sweatshirt. I think a lot of students were expecting the weather to be a little bit nicer. Looks like Northwestern just scored a touchdown. They're up 9-7 on Duke right now.
Soon to be 10-7 if they made the extra point.
Hand off to Whiteley, trying to run right. dives forward as he gets to the edge, gets to the 29, 4 yards on first down. You know, I'm not sure about that Northwestern. You know, they showed the score like they would do on SportsCenter.
Like it was a
and
catch-up score.
Normally they would wait until after the extra point to show that. So maybe they missed the extra point. Who knows? 2nd and 6 from the 29. 2 out wide to the left. Play fake. Thrown out wide to a wide open tight end. Breaks a tackle of Chris Wormley. Gets to the 42.
It's one of the biggest plays the Rebels have had all day.
That pass complete.
Delano Hill came in on the tackle. The final tackle. Yep, Delano Hill on the tackle.
So 1st and 10 from the 42. Michigan playing tight coverage. Looks like Jeremy Clark might be going on the blitz. Quick throw and in space making the catch. Brought down at the 5-yard line.
Is that Kenny Keys?
By Gerard Wilson is indeed Kenny Keys.
Or was that Deontay Boyd?
Devontae Boyd.
Kenny Keys been the go-to receiver.
Mr. Depth chart mislisted. Blake Decker.
Delano Hill a little slow to get up there down by the 3-yard line.
Blake Decker took his time to get up too. He got popped by Mario Ujamudia.
He's off the field
as he got
now.
the throw off.
Decker just ran off to the sideline.
So Palandak going to come in for UNLV. Michigan going to need another safety at least for this play.
By far the biggest play of the game for UNLV right there.
53 yards on that completion, just leading Devontae Boyd perfectly right on his fingertips and had him in stride. So now Michigan's defense is going to go with the goal line defense. First red zone opportunity for the Rebs today. First time Michigan's defense has had to play in the red zone since the first possession of Oregon State last week. Fists in the air all around the Michigan defensive coaching staff. Calling some play. Everybody's on the same page. Decker back in the game now after the pause for Delano Hill. Met at the line is Xavier Campbell, brought down for no gain. They're going to need 2 more of those to force a field goal attempt.
The entire defense minus Jabril Pepperson on the tackle.
Jeremy Clark comes in the game. Joe Bolden comes out, so they're going with the extra DB. Peppers in the nickel. Decker in the backfield. Has a snap. Looking right, fade route to the back. Catch! Touchdown, UNLV. Catch made by Devontae Boyd. He's certainly been the leading receiver for this UNLV team today.
Very nice throw there from Decker.
Yeah, Decker leading Boyd perfectly. Two passes in a row. That connection. Boyd now 3 catches, 65 yards, and the score.
Right over top of the head of Gerard Wilson.
PAT up and good. So the UNLV Rebs trail 28-7. 9:17 left in the fourth quarter here. Devontae Boyd scorching the Wolverines. 2 plays on that drive. One of which that 53-yard catch, the other the touchdown.
You wonder if the defense is starting to get a little bit lazy here, giving up a few big plays.
I think there's a difference between lazy and just a little confused on
just mental lapses.
Schemes. Yeah, I think more them making mistakes rather than getting up too early.
The much beloved Slippery Rock team going to play Millersville tonight at 6. Draws a big round of applause from the fans here at Michigan Stadium. Undefeated so far is Slippery Rock. Looking for win number 3 tonight. Over on that Pennsylvania turf. Are they coming back for a game this season?
I don't believe so. Last year they
played Mercyhurst.
Yeah, played that game at the Big House. It's the first time that the Big House was primarily green. Went to part of that game. It was bitterly cold.
It was very cold.
If I recall correctly.
Know a friend who goes to Mercyhurst. They bust their entire student body here to watch that game. All 6 of them.
Long hike for them.
I think we looked it up. It was about a 6-hour drive.
Sounds rough. Sounds like what we're going to be doing for Penn State. Penn State, Michigan's last game before Thanksgiving. Second last game of the regular season.
I'm looking forward to Minnesota on Halloween night. Booked the airline tickets for Minneapolis. I believe Leo Blaven will be along for that one as well.
He's up for anything.
Of course he is. He's here somewhere. He's somewhere over by the 50-yard line on the opposite side. Tanking it in. Waiting for Amara Darbo to make a big catch.
So we'll reset you on the game right now. Michigan leading 28-7, 9:17 left in the fourth quarter. Ty Isaac leading the way for the Wolverines. 8 carries, 114 yards, and a score. J.U. Chesson also had that end around for a touchdown. Jake Rudock on the day, 12 of 19, 109 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Playing the game manager role for the Wolverines today. On the other side, Blake Decker, starter for the Wolverines. He's for the Rebels. 7 for 14, 92 yards, had the touchdown just there. 2 picks. On the ground, 13 attempts, 29 yards for Keith Whiteley. Combined, the Rebs have 72 yards on the day. Jabril Peppers has the ball, set to return, bouncing to the right, brought down at the 37. Nice return there from the redshirt freshman.
He is quick.
Quick and shifty. And certainly strong, can break tackles when he needs to.
Went from the goal line to the 37 in about 2 seconds.
So the Wolverines coming back out for another possession, 1st and 10 from the 37, 9:09 left in the fourth quarter. Rudock back in the gun. Davion Smith coming back into the game now, getting a few more reps here in the fourth quarter. Quick throw out wide to Darbo. Brought out of bounds for a 9-yard gain.
Somewhat surprised not to see a holding call on Freddie Canteen there, who set the pick. Held him up pretty hard.
Yeah, he was pushing from behind. Could have also arguably been a block in the back.
Gave Darbo a good amount of space.
But a lot of times, close to the line of scrimmage, wide receivers will get away with a lot more than guys closer to the center of the field. 2 out wide to the right for Michigan. Handoff to Drake Johnson, trying to go up the right side. Hurdles a man, brought down at the 44 of UNLV.
Good run there from Drake Johnson. First really good run we've seen from him back off of injury.
Flag on the field back near
Wolverines already
the 47-yard line. Yeah, looked like a holding call, maybe
a clipping.
Clipping on Mason Cole. And he was
can't do that.
He was back behind the play. He looked like he was holding onto his arm. Maybe
see if they pop it up on the replay here for us.
Maybe also got
still a good run from Drake Johnson, though.
A little boo-boo on that play. No replay yet.
Not going to
16 coming up for the Wolverines. Here comes the replay.
Yeah, there.
So what happened, he hurt himself and went down and fell into the man he was blocking, and that's where the clipping call came. Pass out wide in the flat to Jake Butt, brought down near
the original line of scrimmage.
Original line of scrimmage, indeed. Going to be 3rd and 10 from the 37.
Like to see him go deep here. Maybe try and get some isolation on Chesson or Darbo.
Michigan has not had a really big pass play yet in this one.
Haven't really had a big pass play in recent memory.
Giving him a lot of space on the right side for Chesson. Stepping up in the pocket is Rudock. Deep downfield to Darbo, unable to come up with a catch. And for all the criticism we've given to Rudock on not hitting his men, I think that one's on Darbo. Darbo was open,
got lost,
tripped over his own shoelaces, and the ball bounced off his open palms.
No excuses. You touch the ball, you catch the ball.
4th down coming up. Wolverines going to punt. Blake O'Neill on the field. Line drive punt from Blake O'Neill. Fair catch called for by Whiteley. Comes down with it at
another good punt from Blake O'Neill.
The 9-yard line.
Game just has a bit of a deflated feel to it at the moment.
Yeah, UNLV down 28-7 here, 7:11 left.
Not quite to the dying embers, but it feels as though the game has reached that point. UNLV riding a little high on that offense, though, after their last drive got them their first points of the game.
Fans are now starting to get out of the stadium and a little bit more concentration. Maybe beat the traffic or fire up the grill, get a little bit more tailgating going.
Just remember that those who stay will be champions, Eli.
Every single last one of them.
To the floodgates. Pretty impressive pyramid going on down there from the cheerleading squad.
Yeah, that's one that they practice a lot. This cheerleading squad, back-to-back national champions, they're going to be defending, trying to go for the three-peat this year. So no surprise to see them putting in the effort.
Leaders and best in all that they do.
Yeah, doing what they can to really get their technique down, use the football game to strut their stuff.
Pretty nifty little twist down there. I'm thoroughly impressed by the acrobatics here.
You know, to be quite honest, I don't think it's too hard to be a cheerleader for Michigan, not in terms of technique, but you know, the spirit has to come very naturally to all those students. You know, you have a lot to cheer for if you're a Michigan cheerleader. They're now conducting the student section in a dance to Cascadas every time we touch. Taking the job of the band director.
Be extremely thankful I didn't break out the vocals on that one.
This isn't softball, Jeremy.
Those who tuned in faithfully to softball will remember the sweet renditions of Sweet Caroline. Morris Fabry and I getting in touch with Neil Diamond at least once a week.
Decker ready to go in the shotgun. He has Whiteley to his left. Handoff there. Scampering to the right side. Upended for a 3-yard gain. Bright and sunny here. Clouds have largely moved out. Wind still whipping around from the north.
There will be snow before we know it.
Unfortunately, that's true. 2nd and 6. 3 in the backfield. Fake handoff. Rolling out right is Decker. Trying to find a man. Tips off the hands of his receiver. That's Devontae Boyd again. Gives a few words to the referee about pass interference. Yet again, Jordan Lewis shutting things down over on that left side of the defense.
If you want things to happen and you want to plead to the referees, you got to do it the Jim Harbaugh way. Start following them around.
Kick your play cards.
Patrol them.
3rd and 6 from the 13. He has a snap, firing out wide, and stepping out of bounds.
Big hit on the play there again from Godin as Decker dropped back. He's taken about half a dozen pops here this afternoon.
That was George Naufahu, the fullback, on the catch there. So it's going to be 4th down, brought down out of bounds. Tried for a second effort, but his toe was already out. 4th and 2 from the 17, 6:10 remaining. And if this punt is deep enough, you have to think that Michigan's just going to go with the run and try and run out the clock.
Or as much as they can.
They are certainly capable of punter nearly fumbled the snap. Now a short punt because he had to get it off quick. Peppers calls for a fair catch, has the ball on the UNLV side of the 50-yard line.
Muffed the punt there. Weak kick after, under a little bit of pressure. Peppers really getting a workout from that right arm today.
He's just waving at the fans in the stands is what it really is.
The 7th punt for UNLV on the afternoon. Something close to that.
According to our drive chart, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 punts this afternoon after that one. Wolverines going with the run again. Derek Green in the game.
First touch for Derek Green.
At this point, he's just an afterthought.
Yeah. Wolverines up to 241 on the rush tally this afternoon. 364 total yards of offense. Actually, Wolverines underneath their average yards per game at the moment, coming into the game at 380 even.
Wilton Spade in the game under center for the Wolverines now. Hand off to Green again, up the middle, barrels into a man, tries to carry that pile forward, gets an extra yard or two, brought down at the 41. It'll be 3rd and 2. Clock ticking down below 5 minutes. Michigan can knock off about 40 seconds of play here. A well-planned drive could get them to the end of the game. Derek Green bounces to the left, dives forward. It's going to depend on the spot as to whether or not he got the first down. They do indeed give them the first down. Very important play there. Michigan a fresh set. 4.5 minutes to go. Green comes out. Ross Taylor Douglas, the running back for the Wolverines now. Spate, deep throw to the right side. Grant Perry laying out, unable to make the catch.
Grant Perry's seen some very limited playing time this afternoon after getting a lot of exposure in the first 2 games. Unable to haul that one in. A good throw from Spate, though.
I think Michigan is certainly trying to develop their wide receivers more. That was one of the questions coming into this season. The depth of the wide receiving core. They haven't needed it today by any stretch of the imagination. Just 123 yards passing, and most of that short yardage type passing plays. 2nd and 10 from the 39. Spate toss play out to Douglas Taylor, trying to turn the edge, brought down out of bounds at the 37-ish. Clock stops at 3:57.
Spate again coming to the sideline to get the play call from Jim Harbaugh before heading back into the huddle.
Huma comes off, Grant Perry back in. Perry going to be in the slot. Freddie Canteen split all the way out wide to the left.
Mo Ways out on the right.
Spate with the ball. Looking deep. Going to Freddie Canteen. Canteen harassed all the way into the end zone, unable to come up with the ball. Looked like pass interference from up here. Ball just touches the ground as he comes down with it.
Close, close, close.
The replay shows that inside hand from the defender.
Freddie Canteen tried to make it.
Troy Hawthorne. And, that's some more good coverage. That looked a little bit like.
Spade's going to throw again on 4th and 7.
I was going to say that looked a little bit like what Jordan Lewis has been playing with all day. 4th and 7, back in the gun. Nearly brought down behind the line, just gets the ball off to avoid the sack. So turnover on downs. 3 and change left in this one. Even more fans are going to file out as Michigan concludes what could very well be their last drive of the day. It's 28-7 for the Wolverines.
Interesting to see, though, that they let Spate really kind of let loose there on that drive. Take some deep shots and not poorly thrown balls at all. Just very good coverage from the UNLV Rebels there.
Yeah, last week, Jim Harbaugh insisted that Shane Morris is the number 2 quarterback. I think they're certainly trying to develop Spate. To be honest, I think Spate has more upside than Shane Morris.
I agree.
And it could be that they're trying to develop him to take over that starting role next year. Lexington Thomas with the carry here on first down, brought down inbounds. 2-yard gain, just inside their own 40-yard line.
Northwestern now up 12-7 on Duke in the third quarter.
See, I told you they missed that extra point.
It was a missed extra point attempt. Nonetheless, the ranked Northwestern Wildcats continuing to roll on.
2nd and 7 from the 39. Decker rolls out to his left, right out of the gun. Runs to the sideline, untouched. Only picks up about a yard as he ran to the edge.
It's Palandic now. It's not Decker.
Trying to save their quarterback, that is.
Smaller of the 2 quarterbacks, splashing a little bit of leg there.
2.5 minutes to go.
Wolverines might see the ball again if they can come up with a stop here.
Palandic in the gun. Looking for a pass. Has the screen out wide to the left. Breaking the tackle is Nathan Jacobson.
Still going to be short.
Third and 5 coming up.
It's going to be 4th and I guess he got the first down. They're going to give him a good spot on the ball. Looked as though he was short of the first down. It was going to be 4th and 1 or 4th and inches. Favorable spot.
Ball at the 46. Clock continues to run, though. UNLV not really going up tempo. You'd think they
have to get 3 onside kicks.
Well, you'd think that they do just want to, put some points on the board, make this one look a little bit more respectable. Lexington Thomas to the right side. Met near the line of scrimmage. Tried to bounce around. Couldn't come up with anything. UNLV takes a timeout. 1:28 left on the clock. Crowd is getting ever thinner, and I think at this point, all that's left are the people that would be staying regardless.
Formalities.
Full TV timeout for this.
Michigan getting ready with that last nail to put it in the coffin on UNLV. About as expected, maybe slightly underwhelming this afternoon from the Wolverines.
Underwhelming, I think, is exactly the word I would have used. Michigan, 254 yards on the ground, 10 different people getting a carry.
It was really more of it felt almost like an experiment, a game-long experiment. Just a few flashes of very good running, and aside from that, not a whole lot else.
And arguably
played well.
Arguably, with BYU coming up next week, a much tougher matchup. They didn't want to show anything of what their offense has been working on. just work on the more base play type thing. Palandak deep down the sideline. That one in and out of the hands of Devontae Booker. Palandak was hit as he throws. And
bounced in and out of the hands of Devontae Boyd.
1:21 remaining. A 3rd and 9 from their own 47. Palandak in the shotgun. He has 3 to his left, 1 to his right. Takes it himself. Might have been a design run. Falls forward for 4 yards there. It's 4th and 5 to go.
Nobody going to bother to call a timeout here. UNLV might as well just go for it.
They will indeed. 1 minute left on the clock. Screen tipped at the line into the hands of Kendall Keys.
UNLV might stand to get a few more points out of this one before it's done.
Clock ticking below 45 seconds. They'd have to hurry up to get it.
You still have 2 timeouts.
Palandak has the snap, looking to throw. Has a man across the middle of the field. That's George Nawafahu.
Clock going to stop really quick, see if they take a timeout here. Doesn't look like they will.
31 to go. They do indeed take a timeout now. Head coach for the Rebels, Tony Sanchez, his first year.
Going to start off 0-3.
At the helm. 0-3. This is his first head coaching gig as well.
Tough go of it early on. But like we mentioned, UNLV has some bright spots on the schedule. Opportunity to win a few of those Midwest Conference games. Or Mountain West.
Mountain West.
Mountain West.
Big Ten is basically
realized I said
West.
Midwest. Now Big Ten's outside of the Midwest now. It's the ever-expanding Big Ten.
Maybe Jim Delaney one of these days will come to his senses and kick out Rutgers.
I don't know why they let Rutgers in the first place.
They certainly have been an embarrassment these past couple of weeks. 31 seconds to go, 1st and 10 from the 29-yard line. Palandak back to pass. Taco Charlton in pursuit. Nearly had him in the backfield. Almost brought down by Ben Getty, and he's unable to make the tackle. Now in pursuit is Royce Jenkins-Stone coming up. Palandak scampering for a 1st down, avoiding several tacklers.
Good feet from Palandak.
Brought down at the 14 of U of M. Killed 11 seconds on that play. 20 to go. First and 10 from the 14.
UNLV going to take their time, get a play together.
Palandak has 2 split out wide to the left, 1 to his right. Looking to pass, fade to the end zone, into the corner. Never looked at it. Was Jeremy Clark. He just marked his man the whole way there and did not let him turn around to get the ball. 15 seconds left on the clock.
Again, UNLV just trying to juice one more touchdown out of it, make it look a little bit less lopsided. Didn't do terribly on total yards today, 244 for the Rebels. Matching up against 377 for the Wolverines.
Palandak has the snap. Flag on an offsides coming. Nearly picked off by Jared Wilson. Doesn't matter because of the offsides penalty. There's 8 seconds left. It'll be 2nd and 5 after the offsides. That pass was also tipped at the line. Looked like
Rod Wilson did a couple barrel rolls there afterwards. A little bit of theatrics.
Yeah, looked like Willie Henry was the one that got the hand on it. There's also a personal foul on the offense in that play. Hands to the face on Justin Polu. Chris Wormley was the one offsides for the Wolverines. So those penalties cancel each other out. 2nd and 10. The down and distance. 8 seconds left on the clock. UNLV probably going to take another shot at the end zone. Michigan playing a dime package. Palandek blocked down in the backfield at the 25-yard line.
That's going to do it.
Clock is going to run out. The Wolverines win. And hold on, the refs are blowing their whistles just about as hard as they can. I think it's possible UNLV took their time out. They want one more shot at the end zone.
That's going to be maximum 2 seconds on that clock by the time that Palandek had gone down.
Well, right now it says 15, so somebody's a little confused. Down to 2. That is not going to please too many people in the stands here in Ann Arbor, keeping them around for an extra 5 minutes, keeping them away from the 3:30 games, lunch and dinner, and homework for some of us. So after the sack, it's 3rd and 20. Michigan just needs to make sure they don't give up a touchdown here. That would be a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth after a solid effort. The secondary coach is yelling at his team, at his defense, to play weaker coverage. Fade route going to the end zone. Tipped away by Jeremy Clark. And the Wolverines are able to record the victory after that play. 28-7 the final score here in Ann Arbor. Wolverines story of the day, just like last week, the ground game was king, 254 yards on the ground. Play of the game for the Wolverines, Ty Isaac, 8 carries, 114 yards, a score on a 76-yard scamper, breaking tackle after tackle, coming down the near sideline into the north end zone. That's going to do it for our game here in Ann Arbor. Be sure to tune in to the Daily Sports Report this week and every week, Monday through Thursday, 6 to 6:30 on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. I'm Eli Sherman. Alongside Jeremy Parks, we're going to leave you with a good night and a Go Blue.